Yes, I, a special one from the CEOs, then coming with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the Southern Band, charges on the beat.
On the spoon to get your information. On the spoon to be part of our discussion. Spoon, spoon, spoon television. Spoon, spoon, spoon radio station.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon you will know. If the children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening in Monrovia, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry, to spoon. To spoon. To spoon. You from Fonjema, Maryland, to spoon. To spoon. If you eat Cape Town, graduate, my brother, to spoon. You got a spoon TV, you got a spoon radio, to spoon. To spoon. You want to get a news update, to spoon. What? Yeah. Rastafari. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. What I want? Yes, what you about today?
Spoon TV. Spoon.
Yes, what you about today?
Spoon.
Beseku.
Spoon TV. Spoon.
Ba.
Spoon.
Skidibidi dabado.
Spoon TV. Spoon entertainment.
Kuwa. Beseku, kudileo. Kudileo.
On the spoon to get
Yes,
your information. On the spoon to be part of our discussion. Spoon television.
Yes,
Spoon
Let me come back to the question.
radio station.
I'm referring to one of your colleagues.
Yeah, right.
He posted, and after Martin came up,
Yeah.
and he said that he was taking some money back
Okay.
that he felt he should not have gotten. What exactly was that? What money did he get?
When you
What
come
money
up-
did you people get out?
Yeah.
He felt that it was illegal and he was taking back.
So the thing is simple. The question is not for me. The question is for our colleague Amara Corner to say what money he received and what did he take back and where's the evidence that he took it back. Listen, journalism in the country. So now you post on social media, your friend carry money back, what you want to?
So, Senator, can
No,
you state
no,
for
no.
the record that you people never...
For the retreat?
Yeah.
We didn't take money for the retreat. We keep saying we didn't take money for retreat. How many times put money? You know, when people don't believe people, anytime you say something, they don't have to. What put mine is mirror. We did not get money for the retreat. And I'm sure that's what Amara probably has understood. That is why maybe he has not refunded. Maybe he did, but I haven't seen the deposit slip. Because if you refunding money, government money, there must be a purpose and a line item from the budget that you return. Maybe he's got a clear understanding. Maybe he deposited it and he keeping the deposit slip. Maybe he has gotten the understanding he has not refunded because we did not get money for the retreat.
So in the same
And so are you going to be able to do agriculture if you can't get to the farm? So when the machine comes, let the water tell me you can't raise the money to pay for it. Then people will be the one who will decide. But we got to open this country for development. And so are you going to be able to do agriculture if you can't get to the farm? So when the machine comes, let the water tell me you can't raise the money to pay for it. Then people will be the one who will decide. But we got to open this country for development.
The Southeast Corridor, leading from Ganta City in Nimba County through Grand Jide, River G and onto Maryland County, has been in terrible state. The corridor has been abandoned, making it almost impossible. Neither Charles Taylor, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, nor the WIA regimes could help the people in southeastern Liberia. According to research, the distance from Ganta in Nimba County to Maryland is more than 400 kilometers or 254 miles. To travel by car, you need approximately 570 minutes or 9 hours to conclude your journey. As we traveled over the weekend, we asked some motorcyclists about how this road condition looked like over the last 20 years from 2003 to 2023.
Thank God for now. No be sure you can see highway.
On the highway where you face now?
Yes.
No, the way it feels. How many hours?
You go around, sometimes you can make 2 hours, 3 hours then.
Before, if I pick up from Ganta to Zwerju, I used to spend 2-3 days on the road before I can reach because of the condition of the road. Before, if I pick up from Ganta to Zwerju, I used to spend 2-3 days on the road before I can reach because of the condition of the road.
Despite those terrible experiences, the current administration is changing the story of the Southeastern Corridor. The road is now in good condition. Vehicles are no longer getting stuck. Fare of transportation has drastically reduced as the people are once again commuting freely.
Sometimes you can make 2 hours, 3 hours then.
How much you use to charge to carry passenger there?
One person there, 100,000 there, 9,000 there.
So how much you charging?
The president go down. You can carry for 6,000.
From Ganta to Redden to Zwerju, sometimes I spend 4 hours, 30 minutes.
How much you use to charge people to go by the time the road apart?
Whether I used to charge each person from Ganta to Zwerju 10,000, 8,000, 9,000.
So how much you charging now?
Right now, from here straight Ganta is 5,000, 4,000.
As a result of the road condition, smaller vehicles are now accessing and moving freely into the southeast. Motorcyclists Lawe Dolosin and Alexander Dua, two of the longest serving cyclists on the Ganta to Zwerju and Tohapo Highway, were thankful to the government for the intervention.
The road is better right now. Everyone we are enjoying the road. What I would say to the government right now is an appreciation.
Firstly, I'll let us say thanks appreciation to the government because the first time when we used to leave from Ganta to Zwerju, it was not an easy job, brother. There was difficulty on the road was very bad. But as you can see now, as for me, if I take passenger from Ganta to come, I spend 4 hours, 10 minutes.
Our assessment mission shows how the road is in perfect condition, but the government needs to stand its ground to maintain it in order not to get it back to its previous supposed state. It can be recalled, then President George Weah, whose regime styles referred to him as bad road medicine, could not help the situation faced by the region from which he hailed. Report had it that he and many of his officials would normally use the Africa Coast to access several counties in the southeastern part of Liberia. From Grand Jide County, this is Trocon Repo reporting.
Yes, I, a special one from the CEOs, Dan coming with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the Southern Band, Judicial on the beat.
To the spoon to get your information. To the spoon to be part of our discussion. Spoon television. Spoon
Africa. Just two tablespoon, you will know. If the children crying for starvation, just two tablespoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, two tablespoon. You want to know what is happening, Morocco, two tablespoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just two tablespoon. You want to know what's happening in the ministry, two tablespoon.
Senate will close this session as the second break of the 55th Senate in accordance with the Senate rules and consistent with the Constitution of Nigeria. I'm extremely grateful again to my distinguished senators for their support and cooperation for a very productive sitting. Our vision to set an agenda for a reformed Senate was developed as a working agenda from the Buchanan retreat, and with the achievements through the work of our district committees and decisions made in plenary, we are happy to announce that the Senate is on a more productive and aggressive pathway. During this session, we achieved the following: had a 3-day working retreat in Buchanan to set the agenda for robust oversight, focusing on transparency and accountability, and modernization to include creating an enabling working environment and caring for the well-being of our employees. Significantly, we reviewed the Senate rules and made the following changes. The Senate has endorsed the provision to confirm all left-hand positions are 2/3 votes instead of simple majority. We endorsed the provision to split the Lands, Mines, and Energy and Environment Committee and have a new committee called the Energy and Environment Committee. In the spirit of adequate division of responsibilities for more robust oversight. These are in addition to other provisions that were amended and added. The rules will be published upon completion. As a result of the Buchanan retreat in support of a more transparent and accountable Senate, the Senate agreed to ensure that more cooperation was given to the GSC's financial management assessment activities, and we have accepted the recommendations to work with the GSC to put in the required systems that will lead to the annual audit of the Latin Senate. The CSA was also allowed to do employees' head count, and that report has been presented to the Latin Senate. We have agreed to work with the CSA to verify the findings and take the necessary actions where needed. For our commitment to an open Senate, our modernization committee has been working very hard with my office and our IT consultant and IT department on the restoration of the Senate website. Today, I'm pleased to announce that our website is near completion to be launched while we are working on the digitization of our systems. We are also in conversation with the World Bank, African Development Bank, the National Democratic Institute, the French Embassy, and EU for support to our reform programs. We look forward to capacity building initiatives for the effective and efficient management of our financial management system and other modernization programs. Today, we started the assessment of the renovation of the old annex. The assessment will focus on the leakage and the renovation of the old chambers. We have instructed the Modernization Committee to work on the plan for the reintroduction of the system for digital voting on the record. That system will be installed in the whole chamber as there is no provision for installation of the system in the new chamber. For an improved working environment and the well-being of our staff, we have procured 2 buses for commuting back and forth to work and have paid arrears to restore the health insurance programs for our staff. Next week, our staff will resume their insurance program. The Senate, under the spirit of more robust oversight, has reported on the operations of 3 concessions. They include CTM, Latex, and Western Cluster. Letters of recommendations have been sent to the executive for recommendations to renegotiate the CTM contract for more benefits to the government and reduction in charges. The reports and consultative meetings with the president has also led to the decision to reconsider the intense usage of the Bowman Highway for the shipment of iron ore by road and to review the Western Cluster Review Agreement. It has been clear from all hearings that into the meta agreement that there's absolutely a non-compliance record and other grave issues that will lead to recommendations to the executive. In support of decentralization, the Senate is working on a bill to have a full authority and give autonomy to all the seaports in Liberia. This action, when concluded, will get the involvement of the counties with seaports, and the operations and employment will benefit the citizens in those counties and bring more development to our seaports. During our second session, we passed on the following, which include total legislation 8, ratifications 3, amendments 3, enactment 4, confirmation of nominees 393, bills in committee rooms 13. We want to take this time to thank all of our committees for their hard work, also to the Secretariat and the Chamber staff. We say thank you. The media, Central Administration, and staff of the Senators and Pro Tem, we say thank you. Enjoy your Independence Day and ensure that it's celebration.
Rastafari, kilibamba, 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 kilibamba. What I want? Yes, what you about today? Yes, what you about today?
Okay, welcome to the show, folks. Thanks for joining us tonight. We are here again with another edition of the program, the Late Night Show, the Late Night Politics on Spoon. Thanks to everyone for joining us. This is where we talk Liberia. We bring you the updates. We provide you analysis on those different issues across the country. I'm Nelson Colette. I want to thank all of you in the comment section tonight across the internet for joining us. And it's going to be a great show. Kindly share the program as you come on tonight. I see our own sister Lofty Bondo is here. Williard B. Murray, Sac Nation, Edison Jones. Hey, Mr. Philip Bala, Nathana K. Hill is here. J. Alaska, Peters, Dominic Cooper, Keita, Abraham Keita, Janet, Miss Janet Bindu Bien. Thanks for joining us, ma'am. Ambassador Aliu, Musa Sharif, Madam Mariah Sando Yinatu. Thanks for joining us tonight. We appreciate you. Afode Sayon, Eddie Kawa, Nathaniel Natalie Weah, sorry. Thanks for being here. Edison Jones. We appreciate every single person for joining us tonight. Let's hope we can have a great show. Hashim family birthday. Noah, thanks for being here. Mosima Yuma, thanks for being here, and we appreciate all of you. Let's hope we can have a great show. Let me go across now to bring in the rest of the folks. I see the man Moba Zokia is already here. Thanks for joining us, Moba. It's good to have you on tonight. As usual, your camera is cut halfway. A portion of your head we're struggling to see. Just as I was about bringing Cindy on, he closed his webcam. You know, something is going on in the background. There's something going on in the background. Okay, I think you're good. You're good. Yeah. Something is going on in the background with Cindy. Something is happening. Yes, Sandy is here. Sandy, welcome to the show, man. It's good to have you on tonight.
Nothing, thank you. I was explaining. I turned my AC off earlier because it was raining. But now the house started getting hot, so I had to go turn the AC on.
Oh, okay. AC, you
Yeah.
take all the problem tonight. Anyway,
It's good to be here, man.
Yeah. We see mobile in Labashare tunnel, so it tells you that it will be. Okay. Francis, welcome, man. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Guys. Thank you. It's good to be here. Good morning to our folks in Liberia. How you guys doing?
Anthony and Raymond swap tonight. I don't know what's going on.
But you know,
Anthony and Raymond swap. I come in mobile. Can we mobile? I think there's a feedback coming from someone. So usually
that guy is not right there. Anthony, your audio is bad.
Anthony get our feedback.
You won't be that regular, but audio bad.
You get love, but you're not making it.
Yeah, I think it's better.
No, it's my battery.
Again,
I think it's not 40 charge. That's what it is. It's wireless.
You came on the show with a low battery.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I can put it on charge and still speak clearly. That's it. But the feedback went away, right?
Yeah, it's gone. But it's good to have you on tonight, Anthony. Thanks for joining us. Raymond, thanks for being here, man. We appreciate you. The only man.
I got a local feature. If you can land Jackie.
Hope everything goes official tonight. But for some reason, I keep hearing myself. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, that's okay. Anthony, media said you see what happened. Media said.
Okay, no, I think it was on Raymond. Because Anthony on mute. Okay, you see, Raymond is unmuted. I'm hearing myself.
Okay.
Yeah, so Raymond, you will have to make some adjustment.
Yeah, that's true.
Another thing, if the headphone is loud, you can reduce the volume of the headphone because that way it goes to the microphone. The mic is very sensitive, so it's going to capture.
Are you still hearing yourself?
Yes. Oh no, and there's I think TV.
We're not hearing ourselves. Something is playing.
Oh yeah, sure. Something is playing. Okay, Raymond, if you could just turn off the gadget.
Is there any feedback anymore?
A little bit.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So I'm going to log out and log back in and see.
Yeah, sure. Let's hope we can do that. But it's a good thing to be here tonight, and I want to welcome everyone. Let's take our 1 minute quickly to just do our opening. I've already welcomed the folks in the comment section, and then we can kickstart the show officially. So let's start with you, Mova. What's on your mind? 1 minute, then we can start the show.
I know. Today you guys ran our time, but we make everything possible to at least to move it on time. But what on my mind this evening, first of all, let me appreciate all the people who watching us. Yeah, Radio Land, Facebook, YouTube, whatsoever media or gadget you are watching us from. We say thank you for following this phone, TV, and also radio. Well, next thing, there's a lot of things going on in Liberia right now. For the past 24 hours, there are a lot of reports that are coming out. My concern will only goes to the government, the present government. If there is no prosecution, then I will get, I will go against them. I will fight them with everything that I have. Politically, it's not. I'm talking about yeah. So all they need to do, let them go by the procedure as they're doing, and we all know because documents will not lie. The documents are there, and the document is clear that the past regime stole a lot of money from the Liberian people and put it in poverty. So if this government can carry on our investigation properly and bring people to check and prosecute people, I think our country will move forward. I think people who want to steal from the nation will think, oh, if I see, they will catch me. The next government are coming, they will catch me, and I will not participate. And let's let me close by saying this: One of the main things the government needs to stretch on, for example, if you steal from the government, if you're being investigated and found guilty, and when you prosecute, let it ban you from every political institution or anything you want to participate in when it comes to politics, you should be banned from it. I think
Thank you.
Set a caveat for other people.
Thank you very much, Moba. I think I'm going to use the timer because Moba didn't start on a good note. He went 3 minutes non-stop. He hijacked the show for some time. But Sandy, you can go ahead. Let's hear you. Your opening.
I have been following the case for Madame Gloria Musu Scott and her family. There is a news that came up again today where the persecutors has acknowledged that their judgment and decision were based on assumption. And it's in the news. If you haven't read the front page news, then you should probably read that. That their decisions and were based on assumption. And that just baffled me. It really tears me up, that a major case like that, decision will be made based on assumption. And that came about when the Supreme Court had identified that there were not some significant physical evidence in the case. That's when the prosecution came out to say that decision made were based on assumption. We said on the show here that case came about as a political case, that there were some folks that were behind it just to ensure that Madame Gloria Musu Scott is locked behind bars. So I am only asking for speedy hearing from the Supreme Court, so that if indeed Madame Musu Scott and her family are not guilty, truthfully not guilty, then let her be released. I think it's overdue. And then our justice system should be really tested to ensure that it's fair and free for every Liberian. So I'll leave it here.
Thank you. Francis.
Yeah, good evening, good morning again. For me, what's on my mind today is something that was discussed at the tail end. Part of it was discussed on the Spoon Talk, but then when Senator McGill came on to defend the decision, because of a discussion about taking the approving power from lands and mines and giving it to the executive when it comes to giving out licenses for minors in the country. He said that the letter does not say the executive has to approve. It states that the executive should review any private application or whatever before it can be approved. And I would agree. I would agree with Senator McGill on that. But this is what just comes to my mind when I hear stuff like that. It's like a drug dealer, right? You have the drug kingpin that their hands, they make the millions, but their hands do not touch the drugs. They have their middleman and the runner that run the drugs for them. So that is exactly what it reminded me of, right? Even though their signature, the executive signature is not on the document approving the licenses or giving out licenses, but when they say before approval, I'll need to review this, that tells us that if they say don't give this person during the review period, don't give this person license, that person will not receive license. Give this person license, that person receive license. Because I ran company as a director in Jersey here for one of the biggest group home, where I have my supervisor that creates schedules for their staff. But before you put out the schedule, I'm not the one handing staff that schedule, but I have to review every shift schedule before, and I give my go-ahead to the supervisor to approve that schedule. If I said this staff doesn't get 2 weekends off, I'm not telling the staff directly, but the supervisor is going to go and take 1 weekend off away from that staff. So when he come and talk about, oh, that's not true, that's why it remind me of when you talk about throwing rock and hiding your hand, that's exactly where it is. So that's why most of the time you cannot tie a lot of things to the executive in the last 6 years, because they pull the strings but sign absolutely nothing. So that's why when we talk about this audit and stuff like that, yes, all of those guys that were ahead of government entities that allow the executive to pull their strings, if they are found guilty, let them go to jail. That was still a strong signal, and that would create an environment of whistleblowers that would say the executive is not signing, but I'm the head of this department. If you say no, I am not going to sign this document. If you say yes, and I said no, I'm not signing it. If you fire me, I will let the librarian people know what's happening. But this is not happening. So let the audit happen. Any of these ministers and directors, managing directors found guilty of any corruption that was spearheaded by the executive, even though the signature were not on it, they should go to jail and watch rope hard bush and bush hard forest. That's what's going to happen. But the executive, they ran the country like a drug kingpin. No evidence tied to them, but everything controlled by them.
Thank you, Francis. Thank you. Anthony.
Yeah, good evening to everyone and good morning to our
listeners
and our
you got to address,
audience.
Anthony. Yeah, you coming very bad.
My audio bad?
Yeah, very bad. Go back out. Yeah. Raymond, go my brother. Go ahead.
You know, it's interesting, Boba. Anthony set up 3 hours to the show time. Only to come in the bar audio.
Go back. All your comments are making your heart at all.
Anthony set up
over an
hour to the show time. Only to come in the bar audio. Anthony, it's interesting.
Let me come back. Let me prepare for tonight. Let me come back.
How about now? Is it okay?
Yeah. So I think we'll just take you.
So that feedback, it was the residue of this him test.
Oh, okay.
It's because I was still into that same queue. That's the reason why the feedback was there. So me everything coming back took it that way. So yeah, good evening and good morning to our listening audience in Liberia and those of you who have data that can follow online. But guys, you stay up late to listen to us. I really appreciate it. I start getting feedback. Oh, my man, you can be on the midnight show. I start getting feedback now from other people in Liberia. So that's a good thing. Tonight, yeah, like I said, I'm here to debunk and take away the myth and kudos to Unity Party, lay administration that love and know how to give propaganda instead of good governance and proper PR. And so, in as much as we are all excited for the audit report, let me give you a news. This is not an opportunity for them again, a clever way, like they always do, to bring out information that is not ready and to convolute the minds of the people. July 26th is right around the corner, and this is Unity Party first July 26th. It's going to be very tough. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be pretty. A lot of families struggling, no job. So talking about the audit report will save face. In as much as other people said there's nothing wrong with the way the president is going about the F-moving equipment, quote-unquote, yellow machines, well, we are here tonight again to share the contrast on these things. As they also their way of deploying the AFL to the airport the other day, which was not a threat to the nation. That was a political move. That was an effort to intimidate people. President, we are even doing Taylor time. Hard crowd. He's
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Right? Even during Taylor time, he had crowd. Now, if they say, people wanted to go on the tarmac, which of course no one is allowed on the tarmac, then yes, but you still don't need the deployment of AFL soldiers. Again, we got to be very mindful how we use, state resources, and I think that was a poor judgment on the part of this administration to deploy AFL in that team.
Thank you, Raymond, and then we'll take Charles finally. After Charles, we'll now be doing opening comment now. We'll be going to the show.
So it is written that by their fruit you shall know them. Naysayers will always be around. They're going to find nothing but words to criticize. And even the good of anything. Anyone who's a naysayer can add a spin to it and call it bad. But this is a space where everybody has a voice and every voice shall be heard. So we should be tolerant and tolerate the naysayers and let them express themselves. You know, sometimes when you oppose something good and when it keep happening, even for your friend, your heart will hurt. But when you have somewhere to cry and your tears can fall, at least it release you and make you feel better. So I'm encouraging all our listeners, please have a listening ears for our naysayers and let them have a space too in our democratic discussion. But my issue for tonight is drawn to corruption in our country for a prolonged time. You see, when we talk about corruption, it's not only the revenue that has been generated that has been stolen by those who give authority to empower to stir the affairs of the people, but even our minerals. Look, God has blessed us. The country called Liberia, what we're experiencing called poverty, is only because of corruption and bad management. We have a lot to live well. We have our rainforest that is endowed with timber. On our grounds, we got gold, we got diamonds and other mineral deposit, even iron ore. We got our water body, we got our sunshine that can even generate. We can generate electricity from nature, from the sun ray. We got water that we can build dams and create energy. But all of the good things that God has given us, the people we elect, Liberian people, to be leaders, are very corrupt. Evidence by George Manawia, who knows the cost of minimum, and he took usurped the role of the Ministry of Land, Mines, and Energy to his office, only so he can steal all of our resources. We know what his brother-in-law was doing in our country, and we even heard of the Chinese and the things that are happening. But it's time for our eyes to be open, and we got to mind what God has given to all of us, what belongs to us. That's the only way we can get out of this trouble called poverty. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Raymond. I can't stand your audio quality. Is so firing. Charles, go ahead. Let's hear
From
you.
tonight, we will call Raymond Pastor Ray. Every time the brother starts, he won't preach.
They make it start with an inspirational message.
The man started preaching from the day we discussed the prophet. You know, that's when I noticed. I don't know. Maybe you guys started noticing earlier, but that's when I noticed.
The man will be the second, yes, daddy.
let's hear you, my man.
I fear God too much. I fear God too much than to scheme people in the name of God.
Go ahead, Charles.
Yes. Let me start by saying good night and good evening to our people in Radio Land. And I want to make reference to Professor Lumumba. He said, Africa politics need hygiene. We need a hygiene in our politics. And it is truth that we need a hygiene in our politics. We all talk about corruption. For me, I see corruption from a different angle at this point and with this government, right? If you telling the Liberian people that the past government was looting from the country and taking the Liberian people resources and pocketing it for they and their family, at this point, you are the one in the driving seat. What are you doing? What is the justice system doing? Where are we at this point? What are the mechanisms that is put into place by you who were preaching and telling us that these people were ripping our country off? What are you doing? No. And I can say this for clear. If this government cannot, at this point, stand up to prosecute those people that they said were ripping our country off, it means they themselves, they are corrupt as well. And so there's no due or shaving blame on past government.
and you should be throwing the blame as a result of that. And so with that, I want to say again, my people, we are here to discuss Liberia, and I'll tell you, I discussed Liberia how I see it and how I think I can speak to it. Thank you guys, and I say welcome to all my fellow panelists.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you, Charles, and thanks to everyone. It's a good thing that we're here again to talk about Liberia. You know, a lot happening in the country, but today we want to touch on just a few, and then we can get going. But just to provide a quick update, most of you are aware that the situation with the huge security presence at at the airport is something that got the attention of the legislature. They invite the police IG and that of the chief of staff of the armed forces of Liberia. Um, you they appeared today, but it wasn't open. It was a closed door, given the security nature of the situation. But what we're hearing is that it went on well. It went on well. In fact, there were video evidence. And usually, when these kinds of hearings take place, there are people who support, who have their own sides. Talking about the lawmakers, they have their own side. You don't expect the Unity Party lawmakers, for example, to go there and try to push the officials in a way where you get them on the hook. So, but it was great, and the videos presented gave a whole different side of the story. And yeah, so that went on. I don't want to go into certain details, but yes. So, but the hearing went on today. So, on the flip side, talking about some of the updates, the House of Representatives today received a bill. They received a bill from a lawmaker called Johnson Williams. I understand he's from Regrouping County District number 3.
That thing is a revenue because I saw revenue to it. REV something.
No, I'm not aware as to whether he's a Reverend, but
I'm just.
yeah. So that bill he presented to plenary today is requesting to have same-sex marriage or activity as a criminal offense under the laws of Liberia, and it was being received. He thinks that Liberia will enjoy peace. This will protect the culture of the country. It will promote a positive Liberian culture. The values that are compatible with the Liberian culture will be promoted if and only if this act is considered a criminal offense under the laws of Liberia. So the House of Representatives received the bill, and then it was being forwarded to the committees on gender, health, and judiciary to review the proposal, and that seek to make some amendments to chapter 14 chapter 14 of the anti-homosexuality law of Liberia. So yeah, this is where we are, and we look forward to seeing how it goes, because usually when these instruments go to committee rooms, committee will do their own work, they do their research, do due diligence to what is being presented, then they take it back to plenary, and then plenary will have to make a decision on it. So this is where it stands right now. And then on the flip side, you have there's a group calling itself it's a political group actually, They said they are the Green Revolution of Liberia. They're on the back of the Supreme Court of Liberia. They're very concerned about this issue that has to do with asset recovery. They're concerned about the work that team was set up to do. And so they're giving the Supreme Court of Liberia a 4-day ultimatum to hand down ruling into the asset recovery versus the Gracious Rod case that is currently before the Supreme Court. The group is threatening this because they think that this is long overdue. So they want the Supreme Court to hand down this ruling. According to them, if the Supreme Court drags or fails to do so, they are going to protest. They will take onto the street. They will protest consistently until they can have the Supreme Court coming down with a ruling in the asset recovery team in the Gracious Rod situation. A lot of you followed the situation with this Liberian Senate. In fact, the legislature in its entirety is now closed. They've closed for the 26th break. And then what happens usually is that when they have these closing, especially like now, the closing of the second session, they will return after 3 months. So it is expected that in October, both the Senate and the House of Representatives will be returning. But again, committees will still be working. The different committees will be working. Like you have the hearings going on from the Joint Public Account committees. They have this public hearing going on the GSC, the audit reports, and all of that. Those activities will still be going on. But when it comes to regular session and some of the regular things that the lawmakers will do, everything will be on a standstill. But the president can call them back at any time. That would be special sitting. And then you know what happens. Special sitting, special money. They're going to be paid for that. But again, there's possibility of them being called back for a special sitting. Yesterday, we intended to address this issue. We intended to make some analysis around it, but we couldn't do it because of the limited time we had. But that has to do with the response from the CDC. But just before going there, electricity in Liberia, what is the future like? The LEC is saying that they are going to, Liberians are going to see expansion of services across the country. Some 24 megawatt solar energy project worth some 4 million that's geared towards providing 24-hour electricity across the country. It's something that they're working on. And so this will see several homes across the country, businesses being connected without being worried about going off. So this is going to, the first place that's going to benefit from this will be Agbapolu County. There are villages and towns that will be direct beneficiaries of this. And so this is a good news coming from the LEC. But let's talk about the response and other issues, and we'll come to the we hope we can cover like 2 or 3 of those issues tonight. But the response yesterday from the CDC, that's something we intended talking about. And it's a good thing that today the hearing was conducted. Not much is being said about it because it was held behind closed doors. But the response from the CDC yesterday, it was big. And a lot of you watched the press conference. You watched the entire conference yesterday. When the Secretary General of the CDC, Jefferson Koji, termed the entire saga at the RIA as an assassination attempt on the former president. He thinks that the former president is unsafe. he thinks that this administration, has some issues with the former president. This administration feels threatened by just the presence of the former president and the fact that a good number of Liberians can troop at the airport, the Rabat International Airport, to welcome the former president. And he said that they will not give in. In fact, the comment made by the information minister when he said the reason why there was a huge deployment of state security at the airport was because some seditionists threatened to burn down the airport. He said that was what? Public verbal ejaculation. That's how he termed it. I don't know how he put his those choice of words together, but he termed it as public verbal ejaculation coming from the information minister to say that seditionists threatening to burn down the airport. That's why they deployed huge state security at that point, especially when the former president was coming to the country. He trashed that response coming from the information minister, but his position is that the reason why there was huge presence of state security was because this government wanted to intimidate seditions, and there was some attempt on the former president. I mean, let's share our thoughts on this particular issue, and then we can move on to the other issues unfolding. Let's start with you, Anthony.
Well, first and foremost, I'm very interested in the LEC thing, but I want to talk on the airport issue first, and we'll talk about LEC because I believe LEC is a bread and butter issue. You don't have to work in government to make your living off electricity. But before then, let me speak on the.
Let's deal with this issue first. We're gonna go to the other ones.
Yeah, let me talk about the airport issue. Do I believe that if government, the current administration want to assassinate President, we are absolutely not. I may not have any other security information, but just from my personal opinion, I don't think so. What I see happening here is that this administration is trying to use political tactics to intimidate the CDC. Because they have state power, they have state resources, they can do whatever they want, and that's what they are doing. The fact that the AFL was deployed was wrongfully used just because an ex-president is returning to the country. To me, there was no serious security threats to that effect. We have similar crowd a few days later after the arrival of President Weah by the minister that went to Liberia. Almost similar size of the crowd, right? The AFL was never deployed. We just had a very close election. And when the joint security had a press conference 3 days in a row with a collaboration, how to keep the country safe, the AFL was never deployed physically. They were in the ever-ready moment. They were in all the 15 counties, but they were on the standby, waiting if the police was going to be overwhelmed, then they were going to provide backup. And we have trained police officers in Liberia, and they have all units within the LMT that handle different events. So we have the riot unit, we have the crime scene unit, we have all the different units. Yes, there are very few members of the AFL at the airport, but they are not, in full gear armed like the way they were deployed that day. So our police are well trained to handle the airport situation. What happened that day was political intimidation and wrongfully using state resources. That's what happened. No one wants to see that thing. We should not be using AFL, in a wrongful manner. First and foremost, look at the day shift. We don't have that many men and women in uniform. We don't. So don't come, do things that you cannot continue.
Thank you very much.
We don't.
Let's hold you there. I don't want us to even go into discussing the strength of security and stuff like that. That's not for public discussion. So but yeah, for security reasons. But let's hear from you, Francis, and then we're gonna go around the table. You are muted, Francis.
One thing, we don't have information about what's going on, we should not try to speak on it. Our parents passionately speaking against what happened as though he has all the information. Investigation has been done and concluded, and the information made public. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what was said or what was done. But I too want to know what happened, because when the Armed Forces of Liberia comes out, it should be for serious issue. Nobody should just use the Armed Forces of Liberia like their personal security to do anything. But at this point, I will not sit here and speculate that my brother want to do and speak passionately as though he is so certain about what happened, and just play politics out of this whole thing. We know what's happening in Liberia. Our people get riled up about everything so easily. We don't know if there's a threat or not. I don't know. But for the Armed Forces of Liberia to come out, we know there has to be something that was said or something that they thought was going to happen. So I don't have much to say about this, but we should stop trying to make this thing seem like, oh, the current administration is trying to intimidate the past president. That's just a ridiculous comment to make, and we should stop putting gasoline on the fire. We should stop putting gasoline on the fire in Liberia to enrage our people. We have stability in the country. We want the country to be stable. We want to keep the peace. We'll come on here and hold our administration or our officials accountable for what they are not doing, and praise them for what they do right. But I'll also ask that we try to not politicize or make a mountain out of a molehill.
But Francis, when the Secretary General of the CDC talks about assassination attempt on the former president, is there any reason why you want to believe that?
Like I said, we first of all, I don't. There's a reason why I intentionally not mention Koji, because it's okay. It's a thought are free, so Koji can sit down and run him up on everything he wants to say, talk about verbal ejaculation, whatever the case may be. But for us, I will not try to validate him and also come on here to give credence to what he said, but also saying what our brother just said, with no evidence at all, accusing the administration of intimidating the former president. That is wrong. Without any evidence.
Thank you. No, Anthony, let us not.
He's distorting my statement.
Yeah,
he said the CDC. Who's the CDC?
The opponent. That's why I said the former president. I never said that.
Thank you.
We can read between the lines, brother. We're not done. We can read between the lines.
Thank you, guys. Let's move to Sandy. Let's move to Sandy. Sandy, go ahead.
You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, very well.
Okay, well, look, Nelson, I also want to take side with what Francis said. When you listen to the CDC side, it's an accusation that the former president will have been, harmed, given that the military were deployed at the airport. Now, when you listen to the government side, they are trying to say that they got tricked from the airport, that there was threat made that the CDC threatened to burn down the airport. Again, both sides of the story need investigation. The minister did not tell us exactly who made, at least I did not hear who made the threat or to where the threat was coming from. I guess perhaps that it was a threat he heard, or they may have heard from someone else, right? The AFL is the toughest or the most armed security force we got in Liberia. And like folks have said, whenever you bring them out, it signals a serious problem. Right, but also we must also then consider that when a lot of folks move to the airport or move through the airport, that we're not given clearance to get to the how you guys call the place, the actual field where the plane land.
The terminal.
The terminal, thank you. To get to that point, to that place where they do not have clearance, that number of folks receiving President Weah as if he's still the current president, it's not okay as well. President Weah, currently he's the former president. If you want to receive him outside of the airport. But to go out there, and line up like you're receiving the president of the country, basically forcing your way through, from what we heard, is not okay as well. I mean, it also shows some security concern. But this is what I want to say to both sides of the party, of the discussion, the CDC and the government. One thing I want to caution Liberians is that whatever news we put out of our country affect us. If it's a good news, encourage people to come to us and do business. If it's always negative news, it discourages people from coming to us. What we are seeing there, what's happening, the noise that is going to the news, they want to harm President. We are AFL showing up to the airport. It shows that our country is not politically stable. That's what it's saying. We can have opposition, we can have imposition, we can have our differences. But to get to the point where we are talking about harm, where we are making potential threat to burn down airport, is that we are still in a war zone. And that is not okay. That is not okay. We need to run a country like we are not in a war zone.
But Sandy, was this something, or is this something that should have even elevated to that level where if we go to the legislature, the House of Representatives, taking hours on it in a closed door session? Do you really think it was necessary for this thing to have gone that far?
Investigation is important. They need to investigate the matter. Is it true that this folks from the CDC threatened to burn down the airport? If that is true, that's a serious case. And if that's not true, then why would the AFL deploy? So investigation is important in the matter. I mean, this is former President Weah. He's a leader. I mean, he's a former president of our country. So if AFL were deployed because he was coming and there was no threat made, then it's concerning. But if there were threat made to burn down our country only international airport, then it's also a very serious matter.
Thank you, Sandy. Yeah. Let's take Moba, then we're gonna take Raymond. Moba, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Nelson. Nelson, if people don't understand security, I think they don't need to keep mute. Because in this country, right, in the United States, I'll emphasize, I'll let me give my example because that's where I live and I know how security works. If you make any threat, if you go on radio, you post any threat on Facebook, the FBI will come to your door. Not the police they will send. They will send FBI to your door. They want to know why. And I see our brother just, he just guessing. We got to call it guess. He just guessing. Oh, they want to intimidate the former ruling party. Nothing about intimidation in that. When George Weah was coming, we hear people were making a lot of threat. If the people deny George Weah from using the VIP, they will burn down and they will run. They will run in the airport and do what they can do to make sure George Weah uses VIP. And they were even saying the government being very respectful to George Weah. And when I say we sedition and look at it, as our grade. Instead of march, your own said man like a be on our show. I said do on his page. He made similar comments. They were looking at friends, Anthony, they come here and say things they even know about. My brother, if you know anything about security, you know something about artists stay there. Security is not play. If somebody threatening your airport, it's almost like a tourist. Somebody coming, somebody telling you in your eye, telling the government that if our president, our former president, or our governor use so and so play, will burn down the airport, will run in the airport and make sure we disturb people. Where your word start, that where another man word begin. So we all now everything will come here will make politics out of it. Why when they call when they call them for hearing, why it never came out and all of them are laughing? Because they know the statement they make. You think the AFL or the police or the government that's stupid, that's what I say, you know what? How many times George Weah went out of the country and came with our nobody with our police, even AFL on to that place? That's the first place you must know. That's the first place. Then you talking about intimidation. You know, sometimes Anthony, I'm just disappointed, my brother, because everything you want politicize, and it is wrong. We shouldn't politicize when it comes to, let me conclude that. We shouldn't politicize when it comes to security matter. Security is very important. If somebody said this, why in the country when people say anything, they always care for what they're saying. You let them get us some money and say, God forbid I want to do something to Donald Trump. On Facebook, you post it, FBI will come to you. Challenge never lying. Because a security threat. And
then where the guys are asking the question is, where do we draw the line between freedom of speech? No, Anthony, please don't interrupt, Moba. Where do we draw the line between freedom of speech and the responsibility that comes with the very freedom of speech?
Thank you. Freedom of speech, you can say whatever you want to say. But if you go beyond freedom of speech, you can say, oh, the government this, the government that Jefferson called you all allegations and made her business. Because the people know they ain't get a time to, when in developed country they will call you for caution and stuff, or doing private citizen, but the security will call him to get his own star. They will investigate him. They will interview him to make sure what he's saying, where he gets his sources from, because they want to know why. So that's what I want, sir. But next thing, if you look at somebody and say, I will juke you, it's not freedom of speech, it's a threat. And what I try need for you to involve what? For you to involve the law, and the law is the police. So in our case, the Apple case, Ascara Gray made a statement. I said, don't make it on a page. Sanfoko said the same thing. And all of tiny tenants edition said they were marching in there and make sure if Joanna used a VIP, they would disturb and they would disrupt the entire airport. Then you say that freedom of speech. That's not freedom of speech. That's try to the nation. And based on that, the armed forces were not in error. They were right to protect life and property.
Thank you very much. So let's take Raymond, and then Charles will be next. Rudolph, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nelson. Thank you.
So Nelson, I will begin with a question you asked Marba. Where is the difference between freedom of speech and the responsibility thereof? There are laws in our country. So whenever your speech violates the laws of our country, you will be held liable. And the airport we are talking about is a highly secure environment where only those with access can access certain portion. That's the gateway to our nation. There where foreigners and citizens depart and come into our country. There's no country in the world airport isn't a highly secure area. Liberia is a least developed country. Our military technically don't have day-to-day work that they do, except to provide security for our country. So portion of their work is to deploy at the airport. And all other forces, including the UNMIL and the UN who been in our country, had military men deployed at our airport. There was never a time we haven't had military people deployed at our airports.
But Raymond, you want to be fair now to say that not in that volume.
So
not in that number.
Well, deployment, and everyone have said time will add number, but people can choose to reject what they want to hear, understand what they want to understand on. Security is about intelligence. So when there's a threat, you mount up forces to diffuse that threat. And the question should be to everyone, why is President Weah pretending, former President Weah pretending to be the President of the Republic of Liberia? What does it bring him that when he comes to the country, there should be a heroic welcoming ceremony in a secure zone, highly secure zone? All of the people that went on the Tamite, they don't have security clearance to be on the Tamite. Why are they there?
And you ask
look,
question,
it's not child's play.
Question.
It's not
Because I
child.
saw a good number. Sorry to interrupt you a bit, Raymond. I saw a good number of the former officials of government, some of the folks who are even still serving government now, some of them went in to greet the president. They went in a private jet.
Former
They sat,
president. That's the former president.
my man, yeah, former president now.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, former president. They went in, sat for some time, had some conversation, and then they came out. And then they line up in the usual formation, you know, back in those days when President Weah would be returning to the country. They line up, and then the president finally came down and started to shake their hands. Again, Raymond, yeah, and that's where
and for me, that's where we should call a spade a spade. That's child's play. Grown-ups don't act like that. Grown-ups use their time wisely. They are serious, and they do productive thing.
But who decides how a grown-up spends his time?
So this is nation we are talking about. We are talking about the issue of a nation. The airport is the gateway to the nation. That time they were using is, and that's how we even say ourselves bad or poor. You're not going to see pleasantries except for state leaders at airports. No other person get that kind of pleasantries on the airport. That's not standard procedures. So Nelson, when you're president, you want to make reggae music, people will laugh at you because that's not the office of the presidency. When you're a former president and want to be delusional that you're still a president and they should still give you the presidential welcome, that's being delusional. But Nelson, the risk here is there were people traveling through that airport. That time, there's supposed to be a traffic flow. When people going through the airport, there are time. When you have other people who should not be in that space, it reduces the movement time of the individual. It affects others adversely. And those people are traveling for serious businesses. Some of them going for medical purposes and the likes. Let's say a businessmen coming into our country for the first time. And they can't see the kind of child's play. It's selling our country bad. But again, let us not pretend we do not know the institution we are dealing with. The only political party that had a violent encounter with the United Nations mission in Liberia is CDC. The only political party that had a violent clash with the Liberty Party when Bromskin was alive is the CDC. The only political party that have had a violent clash on multiple occasions with the ANC is CDC. The only political party that have had a violent clash with ACOP is CDC. The only political party that have had a violent clash with the Unity Party is CDC. Let us not be delusional and pretend we do not know that CDC is a security risk. Time will add number. They beat a certain police officer in the compounds of the CDC. No other political party have done that. If it was in other countries, CDC would be labeled a terroristic organization. That's the form they're taking. They are violent in their words.
Thank you.
They have called to make Liberia a better Liberia. They have called to use their sweat and blood to protect George Weah. No other people use those kind of rhetorics. CDC words are synonymous to hate speech and violent, inciting of violence. So let us not pretend who we're dealing with and pretend that we're dealing with peaceful, organized kind of people. We're dealing with hooligans. They call them out. A sitting lawmaker talking about burning down the house in which he's elected to serve.
Mm-hmm.
Nelson, doesn't that sound unusual to you and somebody that should be taken to the psychiatric home? If somebody does that, if a normal person does that, that's how we should consider them. They have a psychiatric problem. And when a lawmaker does that, that's dishonorable and he should be shamed and named for such utterance. That's CDC for you.
You know, and I'm going to play a video here. And this is one of the videos that was used today. You know, as I said, there are other aspects of that activity today that we'll not talk about. because of the sensitive security nature of everything. But the closed door hearing, there were videos presented. And some people may not know, but even at the very airport, there are cameras. We may not, the airport may not be as sophisticated, as one we expect in the 21st century, but there are cameras. There are different angles from which images are captured. Now, one example of this, just I want to bring in this video is uploading, then we're going to bring Charles in. One example of this is what you saw with President Bouaka now when he was vice president, when he was leaving the country. A lot of you recall that situation where the video of him exiting the airport, and all of that surfaced. And a lot of people started asking, who recorded the video? How did it get here? The CCTV camera, it was illegal, and all of those different aspects. So once it gets to that point where there's a serious issue when it comes to security, there are concerns, security concerns, and all of those things, then of course, that's where those other aspects will come in. But let me provide a disclaimer here that the video I'm about to play, that's on the CCTV camera video. So people don't get to ask me how you got the video. All right. So I want to play this, and I know a lot of you have seen this video as well. Let's hope we can get it coming in, and then right after this, we can bring Charles in as we move on with the conversation. Hoping that we can get this up. 2, 3, 1. Okay. I hope we can get this up. It's taking up. Okay, so I think we're gonna get you to go, Charles. This is taking a while to come through. So let's get you. Okay, so let's just play a portion of this, and then you're coming, Charles.
So there is a scene of happening here at the Rabat International Airport. The military has been overwhelmed by
So listen, guys, I'm going to hold everything right here. From what you saw in that video, yeah, Cindy, we're going to give you 20 seconds before going to Charles. From what you saw in that video, did the state security actually get overwhelmed? Was there a need for a backup? Was there any threat, whether from the state security or from the supporters who went there to welcome the president? Now, so many of you who have gone at the airport, you know that even in the case where you're traveling, if your family members, relatives, or whoever went with you, there are limits to where they can stop. Most times they will not even they will not enter where you go to do your check-in. No, you remain outside. You wait for your family member, whoever is traveling. The person go and do their check-in. When the person comes back, you'll have your final lecture. You go. But how did it get to the point? And Cindy, take your 20 seconds, and then, because where we are now is the both sides are claiming that they were being threatened. The supporters said they were being threatened by state security, and the information minister says the supporters were threatening the peace of the country. But go ahead, take 20 seconds, Cindy, and then we're going to bring Charles in. Toure, welcome to the show, and Rudolph and Toure, you're coming.
Look, Nelson, you guys can hear me, right?
Anthony saying at the back, Nelson, can you point in there? I know.
I'm not saying Anthony. Anthony is not in the back.
Yeah, but you're saying to the back.
No.
Look, as I was watching that video, I was very disturbed. I was embarrassed for my country. Liberia is sad to watch what was happening. That individuals from a political party would even want to fight with state security in that manner and form. Imagine an investor walking through that airport that same day, or watching this now on Spoon or on any television or any social media, and tell me why we encourage that person to come to Liberia. I continue to say we don't need new laws. We need law enforcement.
Thank you.
You will try that in other countries with law enforcement, Nelson. Take the money you pay the lawmakers, empower the law enforcement so that they can handle things like this. This is not good image for our country. And nobody
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Charles, you want to come in?
Yes. Again, I mean, this is very interesting. On a serious note, this is very, very interesting. First of all, I want to ask few questions. Like Francis put this entire thing. Some of us here, we are speculating on the issues. The facts has not been released, and so with that, I want to know when this threat was made. By what time was it made? Before the arrival of the former president, or it was made on the day of his arrival?
2 days to arrival. When it
2 days to arrival,
it
was made.
All of them.
So with that, I think first of all, the police and the state security, should have already set up a strategies or security strategies to safeguard and protect the airport. The first mistake, let us look at this, right? And I see every one of us, I know, lashing at seditions. And to me, yeah, what they did was seriously wrong. But we also have to look at it too from the government standpoint. Were the government in error as well? Yes, they were in error as well, because you get to know this thing 2 days to the day of the arrival. The joint security team should have set up a complete strategies in dealing with the situation at the airport, because you know the group of people that we are dealing with, they're not just, I don't know how to classify it, not just normal human beings. Yeah. And so you the first thing, people that are supposed to go in to meet the president, The president is he's just a regular citizen, though he is VIP and he coming with people with him. He came with his wife, a former president, I think 1 or 2 other people. Those people should have followed the China, get into the VIP lounge that they have for them, and make their way outside. The first mistake the security made at that airport was to allow those people that left from Liberia to enter the airport here first to go and meet him on the field. That shouldn't have happened at all. That's number one mistake that the security made. And so if you want to talk about the security kind of structure in the security, the plans, organization should have been made prior to that time or to that day. And so we should be holding them responsible too as well for the actions of those people that are on the airport. In the first place, the group of people that were there, you should have even placed them outside the perimeter of that area. There's a place. Yeah, there's a fence. The fence prior to where the car can come in, people not even supposed to pass that gate. That's the first thing. You should have had security people landed all over there. You should have passed that gate. You should stay right on the main street there and wait for the former president. Those people that went inside with him, there was no reason for that. There was absolutely no reason for that. And so when we shaving blame, let us also look at it too, that, oh yes, our government, our security to also blunder. Though we understand that the actions and behavior of seditions is not something that we're just seeing today, guys. Let us be real here. We know them already. We know their brutality kind of strategies. We know how they can penetrate things. We know how they can disrupt things. We know. So if you got to know, if you get information prior to a particular date, and more especially like 2 days, come on. We're discussing security here. The country security. That's what we're discussing here. So it could be anybody giving threat to the country. So you wait and make the scene to occur first before you say you're putting on strategy. No, you should have put that strategy in place prior to that hour, that moment. You should have been in place.
But I think that's into the back. I just want
the airport has a fence. I definitely know. I go to Liberia every time. The airport has a fence where the cars can pass in to come and get right to the terminal door, the check-in door, right there. That first main door, nobody at all. Nobody, if security was actually in place, the strategies were properly planned and put in place, nobody should have passed that gate at all. And those people that the security allowed to enter the airport and go to the airstrip, why? Why you allow that? And then you want to shave blame? No, take the blame too as well. You should be blamed for allowing them to go that far. And so the fact that they went in there, it gave the other people the audacity to move into. And that's how they went in and started to disrupt stuff. And so if anything was going to go wrong, I personally here would blame the security strategy or the security team that was out there. Again, it was right for the government to send the AFL because the threat actions, yes, it was necessary for them to send the AFL, but then the AFL detail was to start from outside, not inside. It was to start from outside. And so let us look at it and balance this conversation and balance the argument instead of just CDC is this, CDC is this, CDC is this. No.
Charles, 30 seconds. 30 seconds. That's conclude, right? Let me Charles, let me can 30 seconds. You saw the video. The AFL were outside the fence and the men pushed their way in. The only thing you must say here is maybe the deployment was low. But don't say they never start from outside.
You seen it? You see? So that's what I'm telling you now. That's what I'm telling you now. That's what I'm telling you now. That's what I'm telling you. The strategies was not put into place the right way because seditions. The fact that they said they were welcoming their president, according to them, their president, and and he's the former president of the country. They were welcoming him. Trust me, that a lot of people are going to go there, and so the security should have beat up the efforts. Police, immigration, all the joint security sector, they should have protected that place. Come on now, guys.
Thank you. Ture. That way around and
Yeah, good evening, good morning, good afternoon to our viewers here in the United States and around the world. My fellow panelists, what's up, guys? look, let me say this, man. You know, we got to be serious here. And I've always said that there are certain things that transcends politics. And this is one of them. This action right here does not reflect on CDC alone. It reflects on every one of us. Every one of us, Liberians. Now, I've said this and I don't know how many times. And this should be discouraged from even President Joseph Numa Boakai. That whole fanfare when the president is coming in a country, all that shit, that's sort of nonsense. Let's stop this thing, man. Let's stop this thing. And you start with the president. Look, do you know the magnitude of the harm that could cause to us? Right? We talk about the gateway, some of the gateway to the nation economy. We talk about, like the free port and all that stuff. But the airport is one of those areas too, right? If we're talking about foreigners that are coming in there, are we concerned about their lives? You know what I'm saying? Like, there are so many things, and people travel these things. You have all these countries and their embassies and stuff like that. Do you think the U.S. not calling their citizens, telling them, look, man, if you guys come in this country, you guys got to be careful? You think that information are going out? Of course it's going out. All right? And look, let me tell you this. We talk about AFL going there. These guys been talking about this. If you guys remember, when the first incident happened, when Judicial were all over the place, we challenged anybody that will not allow the president to use the presidential launch. That happened prior. So do you think the AFL and the security apparatus, they were not taking no threats seriously? Of course they were. And people talk too. Do you think people's cell phones and communication devices in Liberia are not being typed? Of course. And we have a sitting representative who's threatening to burn down the airport, to burn down the I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
We're talking about a country here. I understand we have a history of civil war and all that, so civil unrest, but we've been far going away from that Tudor for over 20 plus years. But what we saw in these streets, people still projecting themselves as if to say this is 1990. Look, I grew up in Guinea, and I dare anybody to walk in these streets with anything looking at military attire. You will know exactly what's going to happen to you. People, students ready in Liberia, they wear military boots, they wear that whole barrier in the streets. For what? Are you a military personnel? You're impersonating people. You don't do that. And that's what we see. I'll go on a limb by saying, look, all that red berry, green berry, blue berry, whatever, they should knock all that stuff out of it. America is headed for election right now. People know exactly who they're going to vote for. They're either in the street causing troubles. We've been through that election process. But what we saw is like we back to day one. Like, as if to say that there is election in Liberia. No. People should know there's time for election and there's time for governance. Right now, we all, as irrespective of our political persuasion, we know that election is over. Let all of us come together to govern the country. That should be our concentration. Then 2029, we can go back to the polls and see what we can do. But this whole posture of militarized, it's not going to help us. It's not going to help foreign direct investment to come to our country. Tourists not going to come to our country. And these are stuff that help a struggling economic like Liberia. Tourists coming to the country, right? But if you put on this kind of posture, the people are not going to come. Nobody going to go and Google Liberia and say, oh, the Wallagizzi Mountain, I want to go visit that place when we behaving like this. Guys, we got to be serious. And look, and I understand, Liberia is so polarized politically. Everybody want to pick their side and stuff like that. But let's be patriotic when we're discussing some of these things. Some of these actions that we see happening transcends politics. It's not going to affect just United Party, that the ruling party. It's going to affect you, the citizens. Because if you really care about Liberia, you should care about the forward progression of the country. But everything we do
These are stuff that retrogress the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Rudolph.
Thank you, Marva. And good evening, good morning to our fellow listeners and to my fellow panelists. You know, the CDC as a party has the propensity for violence. I mean, we and like Raymond put it. I mean, he listed occurrences that we have seen the CDC being brutal to other parties and to other people. So one can sit here and say we should share the blame. We should blame the government as well. I mean, that's cool, but what I think is that the government acted within her capacity. That is what I would say to that. And you know, to those who say that it was bad or they are intimidating their opposition, I think that's, I don't want to say a weak excuse or a weak argument, but I would say let's look at the people who were sending those threats. Akaras Gray. This is the man who marched on the campus of the state-run university. Beat people, kids who were in school. Let's look at the other guy, Foko. This is somebody who is telling you. This is somebody who, for me, now I think he is even more than what he needs. Yeke Koluba, because Yeke has never said such a thing before. This guy is threatening to burn where he sits. So when you look at that pattern, any government will enhance security. So for us to say that they were intimidating George Weah, who is George Weah? And let me also say this: George Weah is a private citizen, and he should be treated as one. He was our president, good and fine and good. But like Touré said, this whole thing where when he's coming, people are gathering themselves to go to the airport. We should stop this thing. We should stop it. Because just by that, it's not going to put him back in the mansion. After 6 years, we'll be going back to the pools. Mr. Weah could have come to his party headquarters and he could be celebrated over there, not at the airport. And you see, it's crazy how CDCs act without even thinking about the implications on the country as a whole. This is our only international airport. This is where we receive our investors from, guests, and everybody else. It was not just George Weah one who was traveling that today or that day or whenever it was. No, we had other Liberians whose life are as equally as important as George Weah's life. We have foreigners, we have private investors coming in. They ought to be protected too. So we're not risk their life because George Weah. No. So for me, I think the security. I would give them kudos because when I watched that video just now, I don't know, but from what we have seen in the past, they were either fire or live bullet. Because you saw how the crowd pushed them back and ran through them. That was a threat. But they kept a cool head. For me, I think that signifies growth within our security. Because during those days, like few years back, then by now we are saying something else here. So I think George, and I will conclude like this. I think former President Weah needs to understand and to have the humility to understand that he is no longer the president, and he should understand that if his people want to celebrate him, he has a big party headquarters. Even when and let's be frank, Mr. Weah uses Facebook even more than some of us here, so he sees these things. What it would have taken him to have called his people, you take these posts down. Liberia is peaceful. Let's assemble at our party headquarters. And if you guys want to celebrate me, let's do it there. I think he should be humble enough. Thank you.
So yeah, thank you guys. Thanks a lot. I see. Okay, Remo, you want to take? Few seconds.
Yeah, I can take a few seconds. Rudolph, thanks for your nice explanation. But I want to remind you that we are himself is elevating our rhetorics. We heard his recording where he went and denigrated the presidency, where he said he respect others, but when he speak to the presidency, and even when he was president, he speak with a lot of disrespect to our current president and the then vice president. So his people are only following in his footsteps. But let me speak to Chaz. Chaz, on January 6th in the US, I didn't hear people blaming security apparatus for the security breach at the Capitol. And I don't know any security person who went to jail for the breach at the Capitol. But the perpetrators were the ones who went to jail. So we should not make violent nature at our airport or normal behavior that will blame the security for people to breach security protocols.
Thank you very much.
That's a wrong rhetorics.
Ture, you want to come in quickly?
Yeah.
Ture already spoke on the issue when you were
That's a very great point, Ray.
No, he did. He did. After Raymond, he did.
Look, look, and look. I think somebody just said that. Ray. Actually, look. There is something in this country that when there is a sitting president, the former president, you don't even hear of them. They do everything in secrecy. You know, even if there is a need for them to talk, it's like they don't even exist. And that's how we need it in Liberia. All right, you serve your 6 years, go and relax. If there's time for you to come 2029, that time will happen. But the former president George Manuel Weah, the president need to take some responsibility in this thing. Even when people even when I know people are exuberantly, attracted to the president, but sometimes you should be able to exalt that leadership. Tell your people, look, y'all come down. We served the country for 6 years. Let the old man do it on 2029 will come by again. That is a hallmark of a leader. And that's what we all should expect from President George Manuel Weah at this time. But this kind of behavior is not helping. It's not helping the youth in any way, shape, or form. If anything, it's just elevating the state of violence. And with violence in our country, we will not achieve anything as people. Thank you very much.
Brother, let me add this up. You see Commies? Commies is silent. Commies not in the public glare. You see the broom man, Ture, why your party? He's nowhere. These are responsible political leaders. Why we can do the same?
You mute Nelson. I think Charles said 1 second. Charles.
No. I say even Sandy and Anthony know that Kumi is our former president, so that one let leave that one out of the picture. So
no, it's about political leaders. They may just spoke about former president, so we're talking about political leaders.
Raymond, when we discuss the issue, when former presidents are discussing. When former presidents are discussing, the people who not see presidency yet.
All right, let's say Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who served 2 terms.
Nelson, but they got
let's say Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who served 2 terms.
Nelson, but they got followings, they got influence to have.
How can you bring conservative? I won't go into the picture for God's sake. How can you bring Mr. Cummings into the picture?
Ellen Johnson stay out of the way.
Who served 2 terms?
When she was accused.
When she was provoked.
7% or 1%, they bring the person into the picture. No, you can't be doing that.
My man, the people that were on the airport, they don't even reach to 0.0%.
Anyway, 20 seconds. Take your 20 seconds quickly.
Minutes for more than 20 seconds. Let's just be fair here.
Raymond. No, but what are the topic?
No, Moba. All the people that just spoke, they all spoke for 2 minutes plus.
No, listen. The topic we were on, like the topic we everybody that conclude the last.
That is true, but there's
I'm coming here.
Anthony, you can put your hands up to the
Anthony, game. I just made my own point.
In 20 seconds, we all made our points in 20 seconds.
There was never 20 seconds. But here's the thing: you the same person always quoting Bible verses here, but you come in, tell false story here.
No, you are the accuser of the burdens. The Bible said the devil is the accuser of the burdens.
Let me say this, right? You see, Raymond,
Anthony,
good
take
at
a 30
overlooking
second.
the
Let's move
minds
on, my
of
man.
people when you come on
Anthony.
this platform.
Yeah, take a 30
January
second.
6th, do you know how many weapons these guys had in the crowd? Are you saying the sedition that went to the airport had that amount of weapons? Did you see how many weapons? The camera showed this kind of how this guy was loaded. So the security, all they could do was
I'm
to
speaking
do
about
the-
security breach. Security breach.
No, my brother.
Let me
And
get
not
30
the same
second,
thing.
man.
You always apple and orange are fruits, but they are not the same. They are unique in a category. Learn that today.
Thank you.
Raymond,
Thank you.
The fruit is security breach. Speak of security breach. That's the fruit. That's the fruit. Security breach.
My brother, every
you want us to
parable does
transition
not
now?
apply to the same scenario. Learn that again.
Yeah,
Free
let's
education.
transition next thing because we don't know the topic. Everybody, all the
No.
people that watch
No.
this
You know what? It's okay. I was stay back.
I thought you just did 30 seconds, my man.
It's okay, bro. Let's keep moving. It's okay. I'll mute myself.
No. Listen, Anthony. We are
Oh,
brothers.
man, like I can complain, oh, man.
Yeah.
Anthony.
The thing is, I come here. Let me. Everybody went around the table, right? The last person was Rudolph. When Rudolph was already done with his
That
talk,
isn't true.
I come in now.
When I spoke, Rudolph spoke.
Okay,
No,
guys, let's do this.
Just
Let's,
for the
guys,
let's go ahead. More back. That is my reality. You can't take it from him. Let go ahead. That's his reality.
They don't like fairness, and I always let them hold you
So,
to fairness.
okay, Anthony, please take 30 seconds to wrap up your thoughts on this talking point.
Nelson, after him, I need 30 seconds too, please.
No, we're going after you have taken Francis, but it's like Francis doesn't.
Yeah, Anthony got
Francis already conclude on this. So Anthony, just conclude.
Thank you, Nelson. Here is the thing, guys. When we're speaking of unity, each person is created in the image of God. You cannot profess that you're a child of God and demean another person. You're calling the people, who is we are said. Very few people. I am not a spokesperson of CDC. I'm a member of ANC and I remain at ANC. But very few people have the opportunity to serve as president of the Republic of Liberia. And only very few will also serve. It is a privilege. It's not a right. Accord a person the respect they deserve. The Unity Party and the city, look, the same administration, we saw the EPS guy was sleeping when the guy almost killed the president. That is the same administration again. The very same administration was sleeping. They didn't put up a good security perimeter at the airport. That's the reason why they got overwhelmed the way they did it. You understand? You need to put up a better stuff.
For them,
if you
even
look
having
at
a
that
security
video,
at the airport, you have to issue
don't
that.
interrupt my brother.
The man flip-flopping. He flip-flopping.
Don't interrupt. Don't interrupt your brother.
Yeah, but let me conclude.
When you look, first of all, you need to set a perimeter. Security perimeter is down one. It's a diamond shape. Added layers. You gotta let layers upon layers. It was not like that. So the minute scout, they walk free into the place. First of all, if you look at it, these guys, the protesters were on the ground more than the security officer anyway. More protesters were already there. That's the thing. You need how the man almost killed knocked the puppet down the other day. We saw the people didn't even get water for the puppet during the inauguration. These people are not prepared. They are not.
So, guys, Francis, you still want to take your 20 seconds or we're transitioning?
You mute, Francis.
Man, just transition because I don't want to talk about this stuff, man. People just speculating around here.
Nelson, can I take mine, please? Can I take mine?
Thank you. Rudolph, thank you.
Yes,
Thank
I always start with me with a topic, man, because I was gonna be leaving out.
We follow closely the situation with the asset recovery team. Liberians were very excited when the president came up with the executive order number 126, creating that team to restitute monies. Guys, can you please mute? Charles, you have to mute. The president set up that team to recover stolen assets, and a lot of people were excited about that. In no time, we saw the team was very active. In fact, the asset recovery team started with on a very promising note. Vehicles were seized in the street. The police IG, Patrick Sulu, one of the top officials of the previous administration, was no exception. Gracious Ride is dragged, but this thing is stuck in court. A group is saying that they're giving the Supreme Court, they're giving the court an ultimatum, 3 days, that if they cannot bring down a ruling in this asset recovery team versus Gracious Ride case, they will protest. Now, I know the protest aspect, that's part of the regular tension they want to put the sitting authorities under. But let's talk about the asset recovery team for a little. Let's take a moment to peep into that transformation or that hope the success of the asset recovery team would have provided for the about 5 million Liberians in this country. The prestige that this asset recovery team started with. In fact, for a very long time now, not much has been said about the asset recovery team. Everything is more or less dormant. Or maybe we should go back to the executive order. When the president took up his time to release that executive order outlining how important this thing was going to be, in fact, that he did not want to go through that regular legislative process that would delay the setting up of this team, that's why he took the route of executive order. But even with the executive order, is this a failed executive order? Is there any reason why we should say that this is a failed executive order? The executive order 126 bring about the result that Liberian people anticipated when the president released that executive order? Is this one of the success of this administration, or should we say it's one of the failures of this administration in less than 6 months? Asset recovery team is set up. Everyone is hearing the government. Next thing we know, they're dragged to court. Next thing we know, Patrick Sulu took his vehicle worth over 50,000 that he got for about 5,000. He took a vehicle back with a document. Next thing we know is that individuals are resigning from the asset recovery team, and everything is just going down. Is there any hope for asset recovery? I mean, talking about the fight against corruption, is it a slap in the face of fight against corruption that everyone has been hailing this government, looking forward to this government for? Or is there still hope for transparency and accountability? Is there any hope for Liberians? Let's start the conversation from here. I wanted to start with Sandy, then we're going to go to Moba, and then we'll come to Francis.
You mute.
So, look, you guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you said it, Nelson. The issue of asset recovery was one of the things that all of us here were very hopeful that will go very effectively and efficiently. I was hoping that it will go very fast and that it will be done professionally as well, without what the friends from the CDC call witch hunt. I was hoping that it won't be a witch hunt, and I was hoping it would go very professionally. But unfortunately, that's not what we are seeing. The team that was set in place for asset recovery started having issues among themselves. Where we saw letters from folks that Martin calling flecking some concerns from within the team. So I will hope that the president will re-strategize and really put in place a stronger asset recovery team, bringing folks that have no political alliance, but that really have the desire to recover what was stolen from the Liberian people. I'm still hopeful. I mean, we are just within 6 months of the administration, but I'm very still hopeful that if the team is restructured and given the necessary resources to go after stolen monies and stolen resources, that we can get, if not everything, at least some of it. But am I pleased with where we are? No, not really. I expect us to be beyond this point. Look, as a country, we need to start taking different measures. Our country, we need to stop buying vehicles for government officials and giving it to them, for ownership. Liberia need to start buying vehicles and even at a very, lesser price, and own them. Let the government own them, so that when that individual leaves power, leave their job responsibilities, they can turn them over to the government, or the government can, get them and pass it on to the next person, or maybe sell it and bring money back to the country. You spoke of, I call it joke, the former police IG. Look at that car and look at the price he claimed to have bought it for. That's a joke. That's a slap in the face of Liberia. And that's not just him. A lot of government officials walk away with luxury of vehicles purchased with the Liberian people taxpayer money. Money that could have been used on our hospitals, on our schools, on our roads, on maintaining LDC, ensuring that there's stable internet in the country. So this is not just recovering assets, but we got to put in practical measure to ensure that vehicles and other government and other stuff that we are buying for government officials and people serving us, they are not just walking away with it. There are a lot out there that when we have the right team, that we can recover as a country. The last 6 years, we saw very clearly where individuals were showing off with stolen wealth. It's not hard to go after. Showing off with stolen wealth. We saw how some of them came into power, and within less time, how they became overnight rich men and women. I can't say millionaires because I cannot put value to their money, but we see structure that they put down. We see the type of cars that they were driving. We see how they were dressing. I mean, things that they were doing in the face of the Liberian people. So it's easy to go after those things. But the team that was set up is fighting among themselves. I think if we should succeed with this asset recovery thing, we must restructure that team and let institute a body that will be very serious about going after stolen wealth. Thank you.
Yeah.
Are we here? Can you hear
me? Yeah, you are a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, my internet. So Sandy, you concluded?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much so, yes.
Yeah, I will not talk much on it because I think the president need a lot of people who get express on our identical stuff, and more especially John Malu. I was looking at John Malu to be the head of that whole assets recovery team, because we all here know how competent he is. I think when Joseph Yema Bwaka was coming, probably select him to be the head of that identical asset recovery team. The time that we are far off, because he know where to go, where all government property, all the location. He said it on a numerous times. Yeah, what is the next thing you want to come in?
Yes, I can understand when you talk about John Molu being on the team, but what's his name? Councillor Martin is someone who comes with some expertise. But again, where exactly was the problem last? We saw the previous administration started this whole asset recovery team and went in the breeze. And this administration criticized that administration for failing to recover stolen assets because of XYZ reasons. Why is this government working in the same era? That's the question some people are asking, not me.
Okay,
Why is this government moving on the same path?
Nelson, I think.
And the thing was announced, people were celebrating. Where are we?
Yeah, Nelson, I think I won't believe that there is probably something like maybe a power struggle among them. Everybody want to be over each other, and the information I think is not flowing. Some people, I won't, that's my own opinion. Some people hiding certain information, probably some people protecting certain people. And you understand? So based on that, I believe that the entire access recovery team, it broke down. But like, okay, let's say the lens of Martin Colley, right? Martin Colley is a very smart guy. Gonga, that guy from around the airport area, that Magibi is a very smart guy too. They put all on the team. But next thing, I think that like the transparency between the team and among the entire body, nobody want to work, nobody want to go out. People who going out, they're not giving the information, and then I think the lack of support as well, because Martin said it. Martin said that one of the things.
Should we? Do you really think this thing is about support?
If
it is about support, how come Martin said he didn't work? He didn't work, but they
I'm talking about
willing
financial
to pay
support.
X amount.
No, I'm talking about financial
What
support.
kind of support?
Very good. I'm talking about information, right? If I come to you to get information, and maybe I need certain information, if I bring it, nobody backing me up. That's why a lot of people left, because they found no confidence in each other. Some people saying different things, and some people even going for meeting. They even going like for meeting and discussing how to move forward. Everybody was doing their own things. So they say the broom like tie together, hold together, and share ideas. But based on everybody want to do their own thing. I think within my own understanding, that's the reason why the identical access recovery team never hold.
Thank you, Moba. Thank you, Moba. And this is serious. Francis, go ahead. Let's hear you. Desmond, welcome to the show.
I mean, this asset recovery thing is we're all excited because now a single Liberian who doesn't want to see stolen wealth and people being held accountable. But if you are going to do something like this,
are you disappointed right now, Francis? Are you disappointed?
I mean, of course I'm disappointed, but you also got to look at the system set up in Liberia. For example, you have to have concrete evidence to go after folks, right? And the way things are documented in that country, you got to comb through every bit of report with a fine-tooth comb, right? Look, for example, the EPS audit report that came out. They talk about money here, bank transaction here, but there is no voucher, no trace. It's just John Brown asked for $30 million. This person withdrew $15 million. These kinds of things, right? So the asset recovery team have to be very, very careful and intentional about who they are going after. Don't just throw a net and whatever comes out of the water, that's what you put out. Because once you start losing, it demoralizes the team spirit. It kills the team spirit. We see a lot of people over there. We all see a lot of people, not just in the executive branch, but the legislature. People that they have part of pacing, people that are even left with their own devices, not going to government, will not be able to even afford a 2-bedroom mud house, but they have big houses. So all of these things, we see it, but the evidence now to go after it, to prove that this person stole the money, it's difficult to prove, especially the way the team was going about it. So, I mean, what I think, in my belief, we need to focus on is strengthening this administration. Need to be serve as like the foundation for good governance going forward. I'm not saying if you see corruption in the past.
Do you think for any reason that those guys are disappointing the president, or they've disappointed the president?
But the whole thing is, speaking of It's like old wine in new bottles. All of these things corrupt, recycle officials from to an alien time. All of them come back. All of them have. It's like I got sick dirt on you, you got dirt on me. So I just sit down there and see who will pull out that friend dirt. So people they're just sitting there. So that's what I'm saying. This administration should just serve as the foundation for going forward for good governance. If you see clear act of corruption, point it out. If you have evidence, prosecute the people. But President Parker should set the example going forward that when he leave office, everybody coming after him should use his administration as an example for good governance by holding his people right now accountable that working for him.
Sorry, Francis. Right now, what's the example when it comes to asset recovery? What has this government done different from what the previous government did when it comes to asset recovery? What can we point to?
The government did nothing. They give you
No.
Come on, tell me what they did.
Under the previous government, there was an asset recovery team set up. There was an asset recovery team set up. The team started work. The legislature, Councillor Arthur Johnson, Councillor Lafayette Good, the guys said they started to offer free legal services while they await while awaiting the funds that was to be disbursed for them to recover some 6 million or so that was stolen in asset. They started something.
Okay, so walking out of it.
No, they didn't get the money.
That's why I'm saying nothing came out of it. All these things are blah. These people, they are so corrupt. Any kind of way they get used to launder money into their pockets or other people's pockets, that's what they will do. So they talk about they need money to bring 6 billion. If you are going to be recovering assets, so that you should get percentage of what you recover, right? That should be your pay. When you recover something, then they give you some money based on what you recover. Not I pay you, then hopefully you can recover something. So that's what I'm saying. President Parker should use his administration to root out corruption from our governance, for our government going forward, so that people can say, okay, let's use it as an example. But rather, he got all the simple from alien government into his government and some left over from the last 6 years. What do you expect? These people are not going to audit themselves.
Let's hear you, Charles. And then we're going to take Anthony, will come to Ture, and Raymond will take us to the phone lines.
Yeah, so with the issue on hand.
Sandy, you can handle the show a bit. I want to make some adjustment. Yeah.
With the issues on hand, guys, and to our people listening to us, I think the assets recovery team was a very good initiative by both governments, the previous government and this government. But the previous government, we cannot really count on something that was done or that they recover. And I can see this government is trying on the same path. And from this government assets recovery team, what I'm seeing is power, strategies, and system. Communication is lacking. And the fact that this government gave people the responsibility to recover things, I think it's upon this government to also provide the information. I remember from central bank, there was money from central bank given to the executive or the foreign ministry every year or something, and they call it some kind of money. That we are aware that it was illegal. That is one fact that the assets recovery team could rely on. But again, like I said, information dissemination, information going out to the public is one thing that is lacking in this government. And with that, I think that's where the power struggle comes. And with the team, I hear my brother talking about restructuring. The restructuring process is not bad at all. But we need to know what is the root cause of it going down the drain before we start to restructure the asset recovery team. Because if we don't know the cause of why the asset recovery team going down the drain and we try to restructure, we might dive back into the same situation. And so with that, I just don't know how they are going to work it around, and they are going to strategize the new tricks and techniques to recover stuff. But if nothing can be done, I think this government and lie to the Liberian people and will also fail as it relates to the assets recovery aspect. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Charles. Who hasn't gone on this topic? We all went through.
Raymond,
About three of
Toure,
us.
and Anthony. Raymond, Toure, and Anthony.
Oh, okay. You guys down there. Okay, so let's go with Anthony then. Go ahead, Anthony. You got 2 minutes.
Thank you, Sandy. Listen, the Executive Order 126, number 3 and 4, specifically number 4, the President outlined the procedural mechanism as to how to go about the asset recovery. Asset recovery in itself is not an event. It is a process. You don't just see some of the government property in the street and grab it and say, oh, I catch you. You get all of the information that you need, you forward it to the local municipality, get a warrant, file a suit against them, give them the options to go to court. They be represented by counsel. If they cannot have counsel of their own, the state provide what we call public defender for them. And they go through the process. If found guilty, then they offer them to recover the asset. So it is not an event. On those financial, processing where recovering assets is an event. It's a whole process. Sometimes it can go from 6 months to a year to 2 years to 3 years, depending the magnitude of that particular asset or thereof. And to the credit of the president, in his executive order, it's outlined number 4 on that executive order, outline the processes and procedure thereof. So when I saw that, Patrick Sudo vehicle was being apprehended and other, I said the next thing, Patrick Sudo will go to court and that vehicle will be returned. Because you don't just see, for instance, if somebody stole your bike, you see the person in the street, you don't jump on there and take a bike. You go to the nearest police station, you file a complaint, they take you to there, and you follow other proceedings, and then they'll give you the court date. You go to court, you win the case, that asset will be returned to you. Because you gotta prove that it belongs to you. The state also have to prove that this person took state asset. That person also have to prove that no, they didn't take state asset. So it's a whole process here. Now, my disappointment with the administration, even though I give the president credit for formulating that team, was when this whole thing started happening, the bus stop with you. You call your team back and say, listen, guys, we are proceeding wrong. Make the necessary adjustments. People resign, people don't resign, it will happen. It's not the first time. People resign for various reasons from government, from institutions. So somebody resigning from the JMB administration is not a curse on his administration. People will resign for various reasons. Tawan Wungo resigned from Ellen administration. Does that mean Ellen can be president of Liberia? No, she still continues with her government, appointed a new labor minister, right? So these things happen. But the president, up to this point, the asset recovery team, like for instance, Regrouping, is losing its prestige. It's sucking up all of the air because people was excited. When people saw that, oh, yes, a team was formed to go after government asset, they were excited. But if you start doing things outside the confines, and we all speak of, Liberia is a country of law. Absolutely. There are processes in place for a reason. So that you don't just see somebody with government property in the street and just grab them. You gather all of their information. You go through the needful processes thereof.
you file your complaint, you get a warrant, and everything. That person also will have a time in court. If they don't have a lawyer, the state will provide a public defender for them. And if they go through the process and found guilty, then the state will order them to return the asset. If they fail, then government move on them by force. So this process will not follow. And we all know it. We saw
Thank you, Anthony.
That's why the Supreme Court even told them, say, you don't go there that way. We saw them went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court rejected that process. They didn't reject it. They did not reject the team, but they reject the process. So let's just say as it is. So we hope that this administration, they still have time. They can put the team back together.
Thank you. Thank you. Ture, go ahead. Your piece.
Yeah, so look, basically they say what? You try, you fail, you go back, you regroup and come back again. Right? And I think that's the case for the asset recovery. Unlike most of you, I really did not, I mean, looking at the infrastructure, looking at what we have as a country, I really did not expect this thing to have taken off like a lot of you guys anticipated. I really thought it was going to be challenging due to the system, due to the lack of, structure that we have in the country to intensive. I mean, obviously, Anthony, you can speak more to that effect than any one of us here. I mean, with the technology that we have, and I thought that was going to be a challenge. So I'm not shocked, to be quite honest. But like I said, you try the first time, you fail. There's no shame in failure, right? Except if you refuse to go back at it. So I think the government will regroup and they'll come back forcefully and try to correct some of their wrongs. This is going to be a tedious work, to be quite honest. And I stand to be corrected. I don't think any administration have actually taken on, of doing such. You know what I mean? So this is new, and anything that's new obviously come with a lot of challenges. And I just hope that they will regroup and they will come back and have a crack at it again. Thank you very much.
The shortest position on this, Raymond.
So it's said that Rome wasn't built overnight. Corruption is entrenched in our country and has been deeply rooted in our government system for over 175 plus years. So to expect a huge turnaround in 6 months, I don't think that's a realistic expectation. But credit to the assets recovery team, they are before the Supreme Court. That is a major gain within 6 months. And the president mandated the executive order establishing the asset recovery team. Their objective is to track, trace, and recover. So the fight that they are tracking, the fight that they are tracing, the fight that they are identifying, and all that is classified. It can't be in the public glare. They're not even supposed to talk to us about it. Look, the Bible says we should be slow to speak. When people know what's in your heart, they can track you. It's strategic. Because the thing about assets is wealth. You can't take food from someone's mouth and you expect them to sit down with their hand folded. No, they're going to fight back. So the first thing that you use is information. But your information in the public space, even know anywhere in the world, assets recovery is done in the public space. A lot of it is intelligent information, classified information. So what we'll see it when it goes to court. Until then, we'll not know. Because even those who protecting those stolen assets will use lawyers. If the lawyers know exactly everything you're going to say in court, when they prepare, and the thing about court proceeding is an argument. Usually it's one based on strategy and evidence. So we got to be a little realistic with our expectation with this assets recovery. And what we can see currently happening is a fight back. And we also know our judicial system in Liberia is challenged. Even our partner, the Americans, have spoken to that time or our numbers. Our justice system, nobody can knock their chest and say justice in our country is as straight as an arrow. So those who have stolen assets will use the vulnerability of our justice system. So the procedures and the processes leading to assets recovery is a challenge. It's an uphill battle. And for that, the process is going to be slow.
So let me follow up on that, Raymond. You mentioned that this thing will require some level of research, right? You mentioned that. Let's look at the team that were put together by the president. Do you think that was the right pick, or would you have rather see other Liberians that maybe have research based that are not politically aligned to join that team? Do you think that team was the problem to begin with?
Well, you see, one can argue that, and that's a fair argument, but that's opinionated. It's not fact-based. You know, a leadership style, none of us here will have the same approach about everything, but that doesn't make it right and wrong. But when you think you are an authority and an expert in a thing, then you can label it right and wrong. But when you want to be fair and objective, you will say, I would rather this approach. But your approach could also be wrong. So in the wisdom of the president, the team he set up, and he was elected, he's the only one with the authority. But we can criticize it, and that's our place to criticize what our public officers do. But to add a label on it or a stamp that is right and wrong, for me, that's just opinionated, and it's from your perspective, and you're entitled to it. But that doesn't make it any authoritative statement.
And why people are running for the Republican team?
Go ahead, Charles, then we'll come to Anthony. Go ahead.
Raymond, I just doing a follow-up question with Raymond. Then why people are resigning from the recovery team?
So every team, whether management team or anything, not every player on the team works. Everything, whether in sports, every walk of life, even in board meetings, some people are made to resign. Not every mind can agree. Some people are not team players. And in Liberia, what we have the clash of the egos. When too many no men in one room, usually they never agree. That's normal human phenomenon. So whether with the asset recovery team or anything, it happens the word, time will add numbers, it happens the word over.
You don't think that undermines the asset recovery?
But that's why we say it's a process that has begun, and to read nearly well, he said, we'll fall, we'll wake up, and we'll improve. When you can't learn from your past, then you're going nowhere. But if you make mistakes and improve from your mistakes, then you're going somewhere. And sometimes every player can work on the same team.
Thank you. Every player can work on the same thing. So, Anthony, go ahead. You get 5 seconds. Let's give you, 30 seconds so we can go ahead.
So Raymond, you said that why are we, expecting a huge turnaround in 6 months? I don't think anyone who spoke here talked about a huge turnaround in 6 months. We only spoke about the fallout earlier on, right? Because the hype, the excitement, the exuberance that surrounded the asset recovery team made people to have high expectations. And to Francis' point, when these guys start, doing what they were doing, it kind of took a steam out of the mojo of the team. So I don't think anyone was expecting a huge. You heard me. I spoke and I said it's a process. It does not happen overnight. And to Ray's credit, the technological challenges that we face in his DNA is also a huge deal. Information in the gallery in Liberia is so hard, and we need to put in different mechanisms, different approaches to be able to. So we didn't say that we wanted a huge turnaround. We just said they roll out.
Anthony, I did not disagree with you. By and large, I agree with you and Toure. And I'm just talking about the expectation of the Liberian public. There was, and you have said acknowledge that there was a huge expectation from the public. Like you said, the mojo was taken. So to an extent, the people expected a lot of assets to be recovered at this time. But for me, that wasn't my expectation.
And you just said, there's a huge accomplishment. You can't take a victory lap.
No, I didn't say accomplishment. No, I won't call it a huge accomplishment. But I'm saying the fight that they are in court, That's a good start.
Send me the
They
phone.
fight at it before the
You
Supreme
said it
Court.
was an accomplishment. Yeah, you said it was an
Oh,
accomplishment.
okay. Yeah, to an extent, the first time in 6 months to be in court for recovering an assets in 6 months, my man, we know even the special counsel in the U.S. they take more than 6 months to go to court
Thank
to
you,
prepare a
gentlemen.
case to go to court.
Let's
Special
transition to
counsel
the
in the
phone
U.S.
call. So we allow Liberians to also participate. So tonight we talk on two main topics. We spoke about the issue at the airport with President Weah arrival. We also then spoke about the asset recovery team. So Liberians can participate. Now, Ture, you have your phone. Oh, Nelson, are you around?
Yeah, I got my phone ready. Sandy.
So let's go to the WhatsApp line. Take calls from the US. The WhatsApp line is displayed on here. So go ahead and call Touray number, and you will be connected. So I think Touray number is the 267-6489-692. So call that 267-6489-692. Touray, go ahead.
Yeah. So our first caller here. Caller, what's your name and where you calling from?
Hi, my name is Marie and I'm calling from PA.
Hey Marie, go ahead.
Thank you, Ture. You know, I agree with Charles when he said securities were to be held accountable. But let's talk about our lawmakers as well. Because Spoon TV Live followed this coming of George Weah when he was coming back to the country on that day. And all of them saw the amount of security breach that was going on. And for them to have even summoned the military, it shows that every little chance that CDC had to politicize everything in the country and use the lawmakers, they will continue to do that. Now, Ture, I just want to speak on the security breach that went on over there. People take this thing for granted. I worked to the airport during the 2020-2019 year where the now president, Joe Biden, was a former vice president after serving with Barack Obama. And I saw him not once but twice came to the airport, through the airport, like an ordinary citizen. Nobody was waiting for him over there. Do you know the implication of security breach that these people did at that airport? First of all, even on the outside premises of the airport, at a normal airport, all these lawmakers travel. At a normal airport, you will have dogs sniffing, you will have people looking to see if there is any terroristic threat. Look at the amount of people that was over there that day. Do you think this airlines that are planning on coming back to Liberia, Delta Airlines, Qatar Airways, they will even be confident in coming back to Liberia when even the workers that are supposed to be checking passenger bags and making sure there is nothing harmful going on their plane are being distracted by so many people outside. They cannot even pay attention to the security search that they are doing.
Okay,
and all on the premises of the airport. That is absolutely insane. And the lawmakers see all that. And because CDC come out and say something, they say, oh, we'll invite the army. That shows that they're being used every day. And if they continue on this path, Liberia will never move forward. They travel all the time. They know what it is for people to go through security. They know what it is for an airport to not have that amount of people. That is way too much for one person.
All right, Marie.
Thank you, Marie. Let's go to the next caller.
Thanks for your contribution, Marie.
Thank you.
Hopefully we can have you back here soon so you can talk plenty. But yeah, caller 267-648-9692, 267-648-9692. Call and have your say on the topic, on a discussion. Cindy, I don't have any caller right now, so
Is Nelson Colette back? No. Oh, he's here. Mama, you mute.
I'm back. I was trying to handle some
Man,
internet.
always handling something. Always handling.
Trying to fix things. Trying to fix things with respect to internet and all of that. And I actually put my stuff on some silence because the
I have a caller.
okay.
Caller, what's your name and where you calling from?
This is Fode Sion calling from Minnesota.
Mr. Sion, go ahead. 1 minute.
I just want to speak on the issue at the airport. Really, I'm looking at Liberian people were not serious. Because, okay, just to receive one person at the airport, you got almost more than 200 human beings that already plan to beat the security, even to put on last the army and the police. Even the IG go there. They were weighing at army. They almost beat him and he had to leave the field. So is that kind of country we have on here? My people, let's be serious. If CDC, they not get rid of CDC, Labrador will never go nowhere. So that's just why in my mind.
Thank you very much for speaking your mind.
Nelson, people is coming out from US visa.
Thank you, Ture. My name is John Fireman. I did join the conversation on Charlotte, North Carolina.
All right, brother. What's on your mind? On 1 minute.
You got read this said. Foucault, the representative Foucault, I don't think we mean well for the Liberian people in that the area consequence, right? How will you go on the airport to receive the former president? You get threatened that you will burn down the airport. Even the area that or who you representing, while your colleagues are sitting, you say you'll burn down the cabinet.
Can you imagine?
Can you imagine that? This guy come with his section and all type of things in the country. He's just trying to bring a chaos in the country, and that is not right. Right? It's not right. So somebody saying why one of them was saying why the army have to come outside. Right? Somebody threatening to own the only international airport of the country.
The only one.
The only one. Liberia does not have any other international airport. Then you say why the army have to come outside. And even let me tell you, civilians are not even afraid of any police again any longer. During that regime, personally they're not afraid. So it's only the army can threaten civilians to go in that share. And that's not it means nothing for the country, but it just brings fear to international partners. It just brings fear to investors.
Absolutely.
To the country. Thank you very much for the show.
Thank you for your contribution. Thank you for always calling.
Even if we had 10 international airports, that is not a right for somebody to threaten the country by bringing airport down. Period.
Absolutely. But at least if you get one, you have to hold that very, very seriously.
So guys, I think we can do our closing. We've gone far. We've gone
exactly,
far
Charles, you know what I'm talking about, bro. If you wouldn't get one trouser, my man, you gotta take care of that trouser, bro.
Yeah, you get any cut up. We talk about
Anyway, Megan to all. But let's do our closing. Let's do our closing now. I think we'll start with Charles.
You look at force on me, but anyway. Yeah, again, guys, it was nice show. It was nice having this conversation of serious national concern. It is very important that we come here every day to give our own opinion on national issues. And like I said, with the issue of the airport, indeed, we also have to look at our security apparatus. The security forces didn't do justice. They didn't put their house to order that identical day. The fact that they got the information 2 days to the main day of the event, I think they should have put up more efforts. They should have beat up their security at that airport. And moreover, you had the army, everyone there. You don't even have to go right to that entrance, that gate. That's the first thing. You can even start your whole security kind of thing from all the way to the little round something to come in to the airport. You could even barricade that area and make sure that these guys don't reach closer to the airport. So there are too many means. The police are not the police have a water truck. The police have this, they had that. No, it's not for you to use it. No, I come in. No. It's not for you to use it. It was threat. You raise a serious security threat to the country. And so they have the right to carry that water truck there to just keep it around and for protection and to protect life and property.
Thank you,
And
Charles.
so
Thank you, Charles.
yeah, and so that was and we also know the behavior of our brothers, and I do disagree with their actions. Their actions were very immature, and it was not properly, they didn't put their brain together properly. But again, our security people too, should have done more work. Thank you.
Thank you. Anthony?
I worry as to how this administration is proceeding. I'm very worried because with or without, political order to one that, we have a group of people in Liberia called CDC. And CDCians are very loyal to George Weah. They do whatever they want to please him. It is the responsibility of this administration to keep every citizen safe. Every citizen safe. The president raised his hand on the inaugural day that he will uphold, defend, and protect the Constitution of Liberia. That includes every citizen of Liberia. So, whether or not the seditious acted in some type of way, they have to maintain professionalism and don't put the country under an impression as if we were at war. They have to use every security tactic to protect the country. But the way in which they are proceeding, they are even acting that they're in opposition, just like the CDC was behaving 6 years ago. You are in leadership, for God's sake. You are there to govern. You are not campaigning. Propaganda is over. You are there to provide PR, direct the country the way you want it to go. So when CDC jab you, then you jump on the other side. When CDC jab you on the other side, that's what we're going to be doing for the next 6 years. Are you kidding me? That's what we're going to be doing. You saw Madame Salih when the protesters got into the street. She said, y'all come here. Y'all come and talk. Y'all come. Don't my son, but then guess what? Somebody got in there making noise in the street. They couldn't even utter a word. They were speaking regular colloquial. Let's talk now. She marched to them and said, y'all calm down. Let's go. Y'all put your people together, send representation to my office. Let's sit and talk. She sat down with these people, and guess what? Many of them could not even say what they were saying in the streets. What am I saying here?
Thank you, Anthony.
Leadership is up here. It's now force. It's right here. She diffused the situation and decided thinking twice.
Cindy is not muted, Anthony. I don't think Cindy is muted.
So that is the reason why I'm blaming this administration. They are in charge. The Liberian people saw CDC 6 years ago.
Oh, Cindy, you put him in the back?
No, I mean, I don't have that direct power, but I think I did. Really bad. Let me conclude. 5 seconds.
Did he tell me my time over?
Oh, man, you're not hearing us?
No, I didn't hear you saying that, my man. I will not be
5 seconds. 5 seconds. Wrap up. 5 seconds.
Okay. Yeah, so that's why I want to leave it. We didn't get a time to discuss the electricity issue. I was very, excited about that. But hopefully tomorrow, maybe if we have the time, we'll discuss the electricity. Yeah. So, God, thank you for having me on the show. But, Cindy, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you saying,
No problem.
All right.
Toure, welcome to the show. You did not open, so you won't close. Just watch us.
I missed the call.
Look, man. Look, let me be serious here. Anthony, you're not going to come here and just convolute the whole show here, bro. I mean, bro, come on, man. You can't accuse somebody of doing something that they are victim of. I mean, how can you come and hold the government responsible for the juvenile activities that was encouraged by former President George Manuel Weah? Former President Weah knew that his supporters are going to go to the airport. He knew exactly the kind of momentum and agitational, for lack of a better word, posture that they were going to showcase at the airport. He knew these things, right? Now you come here to try to hold the government responsible for behaviors that you did not in any way condemn. Come on, Anthony, you can't do that now. You can't do that, Anthony. Like that's been very dismissive of the magnitude of a situation that we saw happening at our national airport, right? You as an intellectual that I know you to be, Anthony, you should look at that and say it is flat out wrong. And you should not draw any kind of moral equivalence for what we saw happening there, right? And Ellen Johnson, you brought in Madam President Ellen Johnson, former President Ellen Johnson in. Anthony, you have to understand, those protesters that were protesting during Madam Salif's time, they had no link with any former president. Absolutely none. So you have to look at that part too. But these guys, we know that they belong to a former president that just left the presidency not even 7 months ago. That is fresh in our mind. And if we talk about keeping the peace of a country, it's not just the sole responsibility of the ruling party. It's every one of us, including former leaders. So, Anthony, that's the area that I want us to really, really focus on and take away this political aspect of it, right? 2029 will get back in a ring, in a porta to campaign again. Maybe Mr. Alexander Cummings could be the next president. You never know.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you. Raymond.
So what happened at our airport was a security breach. And those who breached the security and refused to adhere to security protocol was the CDC. They are the culprit. Nothing more, nothing less. What happened when President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf got down? These were students from the MCSS institutions where their teachers were not paying and they were not in school. So to block Ellen convoy, they were never politically linked. There were students who wanted their teachers to go back in school, which was their right to be educated. So Ellen Johnson Sirleaf got down and talked to them. And I think on another occasion, she also talked to the UL students. But Ellen Johnson Sirleaf never engaged the CDC ever before. Because the most denigrating thing that what CDC did to that president. It wasn't even security wise for any president to get in the midst of the CDC. No security detail will advise such. That's how much CDC is to be fierce. CDC is a nuisance to that country. But out of political tolerance, nobody liberating them like that. But we, the ordinary people who get affected by their actions, we should call spade a spade. Again, CDC is the only political party that have had a violent clash with every other political party. Unity Party and ANC haven't had a political clash. Unity Party and Liberty Party haven't had a political clash. Unity Party and ACOP haven't had a political clash. You can say that with any other party other than the CDC. That would be true. Unity Party partisans haven't beaten any police officer. I'm not talking about a low-ranked police officer. I'm talking about a senior officer. Unity Party haven't done. CDC have beaten their own members in their party headquarters and jailed them. And the information came out. Bro, that's a security risk. And the message is to the former president. Former President George Weah, you are a Liberian citizen and you're not above the law. bringing our own international airport under such security breach for pleasantries, pageantry is unacceptable. It's below the belt of an elderly citizen, of one who have held the position of the presidency.
30 seconds.
That's just wrong. We expect better from you. You say you want to come by 2029. Show leadership. Show you a better version of yourself. Every day God gave us is an opportunity for us to improve and become a better version of ourselves. The George Weah that used to sing while in the presidency, kudos to you. You're not making music anymore. That shows a level of maturity. Show
Thank
it too by behaving orderly when you come at the airport. When Vice President Barker, a former leader who ran against you and you beat in the elections, he will go in ordinarily like every other person. Why can't you do that? Can you be
Thank you
humble?
very much.
God will lift you up when you be humble.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Francis.
Yeah, for me, guys, I'm just going to talk to our folks. Stop letting these folks use you like a tools for their own benefit. These days, it's easier to capture everything that's happening, especially nowadays, camera, social media. For some of you that can remember, I mean, during the 14-year or whatever Civil War, some people were denied visa. Some people traveled, they were arrested and deported because their images were captured. They were ex-rebels and things like that. Now it's so easy for facial recognition to for first world countries just sift through the internet and find these videos that are posted everywhere. So if you realize the way I was there, people going to use you to cause chaos. Just be prepared to bear the consequences, the unintended consequences. You mind your business, thinking that you about to go apply for your little visa, or you win your little DV, want to come to America. Then they do background check. They see your face. Oh, I was there, I was sour, all those crazy things. You don't even know for what reason you were denied. A lot of these people that call you guys to arm and upset, get you guys all riled up to go and protest and demonstrate and do all these crazy things, they don't even know you. There are children at home relaxing where it's safe, all outside of the country, thousands of miles away, where it's safe and good, but they are using you, regardless of what party you are from. I always say this: after election, we should all come together as one people and hold the ruling party accountable.
30 seconds.
See what they are doing and call them out when they are wrong, or praise them when they are doing the right thing. Come 2029 or the next election cycle, we can go back in our various corners, whatever platform you agree with, you follow that party. But stop letting these people use and abuse you, because when you are stuck, their family is out. Some of them couldn't afford to run a business on their own, but now they have permanent resident in Dubai. They have a family in another country. You gapping in Liberia, but you couldn't say I was there. Be careful. These people don't care about you. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. I mean, we were on two topics today. I know you've been following us. We talk about the airport issue and we talk about the asset recovery team. Do you have any contribution? 2 minutes.
Sir, and thank you, Cindy. And I'm so sorry for coming late. I tried to call in, but then you guys were done with the calling session. So I hope you just for me 2.5 minutes. Liberia 2.5 minutes.
2.5 minutes.
Yeah, but yes, I was listening on the whole airport stuff. I've been hearing about it, but I really did not see what happened till I seen the video today about the AFL going at the airport and all that other extra stuff. What I don't understand is that why people are intimidated of the why they're intimidated when they see the AFL or whatever showing up somewhere, or why should President Weah see that as a threat? He's a former head of states. I think you should feel more secure when you see the AFL around, knowing that when something goes wrong, they will protect you. Instead, why would you see that as a threat? I don't understand it. And CDC, they're I mean, women said it all about this group called CDC, and People always come here and talk about, oh, are they not Liberians? Are they not Liberians? You don't need somebody to come from Mars to destroy your country. For the past 14 years, that was 14 or 15 years ago, what we had, it wasn't people from different countries that did it. It was Liberians that destroyed and killed their own people. So using the whole thing about, are they not Liberian? BS is really, really upsetting. You can have a political party in a country. You have responsible countries that have oppositions. They have the ruling parties, and you respect your the other people there, and stop making it to look like we have to be checking for we are every time, like he's looking for the recognition. This man is a star on the soccer field, for goodness sake. None of us here can take that from him. He was the only thing was he was the worst president ever in the history of our country, and he's not coming back anywhere. So I don't know why he's looking for attention everywhere he goes. People must show up, and they arrange their whole thing to have people out there, even on the street, lining up when he passed into the city. Who has time not going looking for that didn't mute, but coming standing on it? We all know when we are coming in the country and they decide to come and stand on with. Oh, I don't know what they're trying to prove. Doesn't we know reactions are there? We all know seditions are there. They are there. No, they're not going anywhere. So for them to think that parking it on the street or bringing it to the airport is anything that's supposed to scare anybody is really, really absurd. And people here talking about blaming both sides. This is not a both side issue. I don't know why you're so confused about it. This wasn't an issue of, oh, did the security handle the situation well or they did not? No. The problem here was CDC saying that they got threatened, but because AFL show up, and AFL said that because they got a threat, or the information minister said there was a threat. That's what the issue is. So I don't know why people coming, oh, the government too should be blamed because they didn't do the other one yet. That's not a case here. And I don't know why it's so hard to just for some people to just hold people accountable, and they want to add other people to it for them to show that they're being objective. No, that is not being objective. That is not, you're not considering the situation, and you're not being real with yourself. That's not being any objective or anything like that.
30 seconds.
Put it. You have people coming in the country. You going on at the airport, behaving like lunatics. These people are calling themselves youth. Some of them are 40 years old, 30-something years old. You should be providing for your family and letting people then use you calling yourself youth and this and that when they're only doing it for themselves. This is disturbing, and we need to stop that. And lawmakers, these people who are supposed to see things that they impose laws in place to have it not happen again, they're threatening to burn down an airport. And people letting them to get away with it and thinking that that's some sort of letting people to have. This is not freedom of speech. This is threats being made. So how is that not, you don't know the difference between threat and a freedom of speech? They have to threaten people and do not just them, anybody for that matters, and bring them to book if they do anything like this. CDC, whoever, we don't care who you are or whoever you support, you should be tolerant to other Liberians and do the right thing.
Thank you, Amen.
I have more time to
I can do my closing.
And stuff like that.
Man, you came out to do closing.
Thank you, Amen.
Yeah, closing,
you just came. So go. You got 2 minutes, Mama. Go ahead, close quickly.
Thank you.
Wait, did you just give Mama 2 minutes to close? They've been talking all the
why you give me
talking.
2 minutes and you give me 2 minutes?
Okay,
we're discussing transparency. I mean, we're discussing transparency, man.
For coming late, 1 minute 30 seconds. Your time starts.
Okay, no problem, my brother. Thank you. You know, we discussed a lot of things tonight, but I just want to correct my brother, Anthony. Tonight, I know Anthony is a very smart man, which of course all know. But sometimes the partisan thing when getting here, he just say what you want to say. But let me go to the issue, right? Our brother who said that it was wrong for putting security, the army and the police to the airport. He was the one again. Later on, he said they should have sent more men over there to stop the crowd. So sometimes you said it, we get a clip there. Everybody listen to it. Anthony, don't shake your head. You said it, and everybody was like, "Wow!" Even French was like, "Wow!" Everybody opened their mouth because you shock everybody, but it's not. It's like, look, we all love Liberia. If we see something going bad, let us say, let us, not being too much like too much political issues. Let's discuss the issues that are on ground. We all understand it is wrong. It is wrong for you to take people. People made a lot of threat, and at the end of the day, you see people going to the airport, and you saw the force. And one of the reasons the army, our army never enforced those people. Don't let me tell you, army not put to play with. They were just a little bit afraid before the people, because I know anything can go wrong. Our brother Anthony come and say, you see it? And because even emphasize on it that the people are having arm on it. The people are having the gun, the weapon the people are having. They know the people not shoot that weapon. They don't pull that weapon, at least to put fear in them. But at the end of the day, the people make that way. And it was wrong. So when we discuss the issue, don't forget about politics. Seditions, we all know they are Liberians. But we all know them to be a violent group of people. They are violent. They like too much. Look, the people get a record of violence in the entire country. We all know. We all know. So when we're discussing the issue now, we won't be like personal to anybody, but we're just discussing as we see it. If lawmaker or certain lawmaker can say things that is not right, then we all clap for it. Then people then say, oh, we need to send people to the airport. It is wrong. And I see nothing about that, nothing about the AFL going down there, deploy to that place is bad. It is not bad. It is not bad. People got to go there to protect life and property. A lot of people who were over there, they are citizens too. They're me and you. In case Anthony was going in like brother, I seen day, you're going to condemn it. Because in your shoes, you don't know. So we all got to put partisan one side and focus on the reality, the thing that will elevate our country, the thing that will make when we sit behind the microphone, that will preach the willful politics. That will
30
preach,
seconds.
Yeah, let me conclude. When JB does bad, we say it. When he do good, we say it. And a few times we all criticizing JB. For me, I criticize JB. When he do things not right, I say it. When he do the thing not right, I say it. You understand? So when we leave our business schedule, we come here, we say the facts. We're not here. I can tell them about it. Nobody putting money in our pocket in government. We're not working in government. We're doing our own thing. We use our own resources from the beginning to the end.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe my internet will
Raymond, I see your hand up. Is that closing?
What is that?
Closing?
I said maybe Anthony was going to miss his flight, then he would know that was the wrong thing.
Just wanted 5 seconds.
First of all,
okay, I gave you actual 5 seconds. Actual 5 seconds. Actual 5 seconds. Go ahead.
But Anthony's still laughing.
Go ahead.
I'm not being free. Come on.
Go ahead, brother.
So I wanted, when I spoke, Anthony said, the asset recovery team made a major accomplishment. So I replayed my statement and I listened to myself, and I said that in 6 months, what they've done before the Supreme Court, that's I credit them. That's what I said. So credit, accomplishment, but I didn't use the word major. You could be credited for that, but I didn't use it. And for me,
remember you explained that no evidence.
But in my head, no, I just wanted to give it. I wouldn't call it major, but I think. No, I mean, listen to myself because my thoughts, because of that, they can be slip of words. Because I was shocked at myself as saying major accomplishment. I wouldn't consider that major accomplissement, but I think I can credit them for that.
Okay, all right. So let me close.
Y'all don't do for me on this show is that when I saw you, you don't voice it.
No, Anthony, I agree with you. Anthony, when you spoke about that, I honestly agree with you. In fact, I even took your talking point. When you talk about the executive order, I went there. So that I agree with you. But next time I will tell you, kudos, Anthony.
Raymond, you explained that no evidence.
I know, right?
Let me show you the people who can bring evidence. Let me show you the people who can bring evidence. You see, when Alfred appear on the show, you're coming close shortly. When Alfred appear, come here, me.
But let's see Alfred evidence.
When Alfred appeared on the show last night, this is the evidence when Alfred appeared. These are people.
Why did change his name from Joseph Yuma Bwagai to John Pombe Magufuli of Tanzania? There will be a serious Magufulification. We say there will be a serious Magufulification.
No. Come again with that. It's
Let me say it again. There will be a serious Magufulification of Liberia under Joseph Yuma Bwagai.
For every time you say it, it changes. So I don't know what you're talking
Let
about.
me say that again. There will be a serious Magufulification of Liberia under Joseph Yuma Bwagai.
You cannot permit you to say that in the way you want to say it.
The name John Pombe Magufuli. Name John Pombe Magufuli. He left a legacy in Tanzania that today in Tanzania.
So things.
So let me.
You know, one of our followers.
Nelson, I saw your video yesterday, Nelson. You refused to play that video.
How can you?
I saw your video yesterday.
I'll play it tomorrow.
But one of our followers, I'm going to take that one back.
So one of our followers actually did that. He followed the show religiously, and so he caught just that portion of the clip and posted it on his social media. Yeah, Thomas Kuhlman. So I was just scrolling through. He tagged me in it, and the way I did my setting is when you tag me, once I don't see it to approve it, you know. So, but then later when I saw it, I said, "Oh wow, this tag is entertaining," you know.
Of course,
so,
it is.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
I'm about to go viral.
I'm not trying to repeat that word, but it's actually a real word.
Magafulification?
Yeah, it's a word.
It just says a tongue twister. That's a.
It was developed because of John Magufuli, right? Yeah, so that's how usually words come about. Anyways.
Alfred is done with Lee Kuan Yew.
Yeah, you know, Alfred always looking for good leaders around and bringing them here. So, but I wanted to end similarly to Francis. You know, I don't want to beat on any side. We saw that the security sector is weak. From what I saw, is weak.
That's what I said.
And I will encourage our leaders to empower the security sector. A few group of individuals can overpower you at a national airport, then it's very scary. Then it's very scary. And that's why crime is on an increase in our country.
Right.
Because I can steal or I can do something terrible and I have no fear of security.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal. But look, to the young people that are following leaders, me too, I like to follow leaders. If I see President Weah today, I want to go and shake his hand. If I see President Bwakai, I will want to run there and hug him. If I see Alexander Benedict Cummings, I want to go and speak to him. But I will never try to hurt another Liberian for any of them.
Absolutely.
I will never try to, insult, abuse, physically harm another Liberian for any of those people. While their children are out of country or in country enjoying their life, then you are there fighting Liberian, destroying the image of your country. Like Francis said, putting yourself on social media that people can see you for life.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you have an opportunity tomorrow to travel or to even be given a job with an NGO, they try to investigate you, do a research, then they find your picture or video where you are fighting state security or hurting another Liberian. Young people, we got to be careful. We come here, we cry, we preach for the private sector to pick up. But which investor will want to come to Liberia washing what we just washed earlier today, this evening? It scares people away. Then you wonder why other countries around you are moving forward, but you are not moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
You are not moving forward because people are not safe to come to your country. You are doing it to yourself. You are doing it to yourself. So that's why the private sector is not picking up. Your country is not safe. Young people, we have to wake up. I always say the generation before us failed us. We cannot fail ourselves, and definitely we should not fail the generation coming after us. But the patterns that I'm seeing, the trends that we are taking, the way we are behaving, it's not good for Liberia, and it's not good for the people that will come after us. I want to thank all of you on this panel for the show, and I want to thank those that have been following us. Thank you.
You're behaving just like the rest, right, people?
Great point, Sandy. Generation before us,
we look forward to being here tomorrow.
After us.
I look forward to being here tomorrow.
Permit me to use it in the future.
I want to say thank
Can
you
you
to
go,
you, Morgan.
Nelson, can you highlight Eric step comments? It's for some of us.
That's the same thing he's saying. I want to say thank you to you, Francis. Francis, you say your shift is about to start.
Oh, yeah.
You got to go and take care of a little man.
Yeah,
that's a good thing.
Yeah, myself, I got to go to that.
Yeah,
and thanks for being here. Ray, thank you. Raymond, Emmy, thank you for being here. We appreciate you as well.
Emmy, you need to be coming every day.
No.
Be coming every day. We need to see your voice here. Even though we visit people, we need to see your voice.
Nelson, folks, we want to say thanks to all of you for being